love this guy, and I'm thinking that with Arizona having drafted Connor Geekie last year, they would have had an underage book on Zach Benson, and I thought he might have been a target for them here, but clearly Bill Armstrong going with the size. 13th overall for Zach Benson. A lot of my year, I had him in the top 10 and comfortably inside the top 10. I love this guy. I love everything about him. He's happy. He's got a smile on his face. He plays with passion. He goes to hard areas on the ice. Don't tell him he's small. Forget about it. This guy can make plays. He can score goals. He makes those around him better. And on many nights, playing with first-rounders Matthew Savoy and Connor Geekie, he might have been the best player on a lot of nights. On a team full of rock stars, he was able to carve out his own ice as a younger player. Love him. And I love the lid, too.
And you mentioned Matthew Savoy. He played with them, and now he's going to play with them at some point with the Buffalo Sabres. You have to imagine that factored in. They love the chemistry there.
Yeah, well, anybody, like Sammy says, who can rock the mullet from the CHL top prospects all the way to the end of the year. It's awesome. Anyways, listen, exceptional skill. With as a line mate, only because you got to wait it out sometimes. But his spatial awareness is outstanding. He's got great character, elite skill, make plays in a phone booth. Buffalo Sabres have drafted a lot of smaller skill guys. Add this kid to the
better be really good and competitive, and that's what he is, and that's a great pick at 13.
I can tell you Pittsburgh's on the clock at 14, but Kevin Adams couldn't contain that smile. There's got to be a bit of pressure on the Buffalo Sabres, right? 12 years without the playoffs, longest stretch in any of the four major North American sports. This is the year they're expecting to have that breakthrough in a very tough Atlantic division. Let's get you back down on the floor, Carolyn Cameron, with the newest member of the Buffalo Sabres.
Thanks very much. Well, Zach, you told me you were worried you were going to black out when you heard your name called. How did it go?
Yeah, that's exactly it. It's pretty surreal, and I'm so stoked to be a Buffalo Sabre.
You grew up spending your summers traveling city to city, town to town in Western Canada with your family's carnival business. What did your family teach you about work ethic?
Yeah, it takes a lot of hard work. Just watching my grandpa and dad, you know, what they do every day. It's a lot of hard work, and, you know, they're definitely an inspiration in my life.
Hey, you're ready to put the hard hat on for the Buffalo Sabres. Just lastly, you have friends over my shoulder and family. Do you want to say hi?
Yeah, absolutely. What's up, guys? What's up, Younger?
Congratulations, and have fun tonight.
Awesome, thank you.
Well, let's have some fun for a few minutes here and take you through some of his highlights. Here he is, like I'm saying, off the rush, through the middle of the ice, through a guy's skates. I mean, it's elite. It's fun to watch. Like, fans are going to really enjoy this. He finds seams. Like, some guys who don't have exceptional pace, they find seams, they find open space. Hockey sense, that's what that's called. Step to the middle of the ice, bang it home. I mean, this guy right here, he's a play driver. It's just a different kind of play driver. That's all, you know, that's the best way I can describe it. He's going to be a leader, and he can play in all situations despite just that high-end skill.
Now, fourth in points per game in the WHL, a skilled player. With more on Zach Benson, let's send it to Kyle.
Yeah, David, you saw how happy his family was when you heard his name called. His grandparents live in the Vancouver area, over a 4-hour drive from Wenatchee, Washington. So when they heard Benson's Winnipeg Ice were relocating there, they bought season tickets as soon as they became available. The family's used to life on the road. Carolyn brought up the carnival and fair background in the interview with Zach, so you can expect a steady Benson family presence in Wenatchee and Buffalo when the time comes, DA.
Oh, yes. All right. Well, good news for the Buffalo Sabres getting a good kid in Zach Benson. And now on the clock, the Pittsburgh Penguins, a different straight years making the playoffs. I'm not used to picking this high.
Well, it's a situation for me where does Kyle Dubas come in and draft the sort of player that he drafted with Toronto, or does he rely
Crowley was, no, it's a Pittsburgh Penguin rivalry. But here it is. Braden Yeager. What are we
16-year-old, and you're thinking, all right, that's his calling card. That's what he press scouts much, but he went from 25 to 50 assists, and in doing so, really worked in that part of his game. We talked to him at the Combine, and I asked him about that. I said, if people challenge you about the goal scoring going down, as you get older, you're supposed to score more. He said, you know what? I made a conscious decision to work on my playmaking, but, you know, looking back, I probably should have been a little bit more selfish and taken a few more shots. So I love that awareness in the fact that he's trying to improve on one part of his game. He goes back, reviews it again, and says, you know what? Maybe I need to get back to what my calling card is, and that's shooting the puck and playing with speed. I really like the young man.
This is a little bit of a compromise. And what I mean by that is that he's not a giant, but he's also not tiny. I think he's going to weigh out at about $185 by the time he matures. He's equal parts shooter and distributor now, but he plays a 3-zone game. He's going to play with detail. He's going to push people around him to be better. He shows up to play every day, guys. He's a competitive kid.
And a late bloomer, right? He played AA hockey till he was 14-plus years of age. He wasn't one of those, you know, he wasn't Connor Bedard on sort of that track right from the age of 7 or 8. Chuck, do you look for that where it takes a little bit, maybe extra resilience, a little bit of extra grit to keep that NHL dream alive?
Well, absolutely. That's a factor in. There's some kids that dominate right from an early age. There's other kids that come on late. But, you know, let's be honest, for Pittsburgh, they don't have a lot of forward prospects, and to grab a center like Yeager's is a good coup for them.
Yeah, you're seeing some of the highlights, guys. We're talking about that quick release, right? There's forehand, backhand. The first one you saw was barred down coming off the flank. Here he comes through the neutral zone late. That's a weak back check, I'm not going to lie, but hey, he identified the opportunity, and there he was.
All right, it's getting noisy in here, and that's because the Nashville Predators are on the clock, but we want to hear, of course, from Braden Yeager, so we're going to head down to the stage in Carolyn.
Okay. Thanks very much, David. Just chatting here. Braden, you study Sidney Crosby's face-offs. Now you're wearing the same jersey he is. How does it feel?
It's a dream. I mean, you know, he's a guy that I've looked up to my whole life, and obviously the Penguins are an unbelievable organization, so it's a dream. I can't even put it into words. You also have looked up to Leon Draisaitl, who you met when he visited your minor hockey team. How did that meeting help ignite this dream? Yeah, I mean, that kind of sparked my decision to go to the WHL. Obviously, you know, watching a guy like Leon, he's incredible player, and you know, inspired me to go through the WHL, and you know, obviously this got me to where I am today, so super happy. As you told me, Saskatoon boy, big country fan. How are you enjoying Nashville? Yeah, it's unreal. I mean, we've kind of walked around downtown here, and there's tons of music going on. It's crazy atmosphere. It's awesome. Well, congrats and enjoy tonight. Thank you, appreciate it. David?
All right, well, he just said the A word, atmosphere, and there's certainly a lot of atmosphere in this building right now because there is some anticipation. David Poile will be making his final selection as general manager of the Nashville Predators. He's stepping down. Barry Trotz set to take over a very esteemed franchise. And it's worth saying, David Poile has built this city, and I don't want to, that's not hyperbole. I've been here, I came back here in the baseball winter meetings back in 1999. Yeah. Nashville wasn't like this. This NHL franchise came here, and it has built up the infrastructure incredibly.
I had an opportunity to work under David here for my first 5 years in the league, and he was a mentor to me, and he's just a fantastic human being. This building, guys, back then, we were about 11,000, 12,000 a night. It was a slow build, and when we got here, when this city got here, it's on fire now. What an awesome place to play hockey and raise a family.
David Poile is one of the great builders of all time. Just an incredible general manager, incredible career, and what he's done for the city, for this franchise, and we're seeing it today. It's a hockey town now. Nashville, Tennessee is a hockey town.
It's funny, David, back in 99, I was out at this same baseball winter meetings. I came to a hockey game, and at the intermission, a band breaks out. I'm like, what is going on here? But that's part of the fabric of what it's all about here in Nashville.
All right, let's get down to Elliot Friedman. All right, we'll get back down to LA in just a matter of moments. But Nashville's on the clock. You see David Coyle making that long walk for the final time, and the crowd is electric here in Nashville in anticipation of the Predators' latest pick. And again, just like Pittsburgh, just like Washington, this is rare form for them to not be a playoff team. So they're going to be, turning to make the corner turn quickly here.
Coyle turns it over to Trotz, gives him 13 picks in this draft. Here, hit the ground running.
7 in the top 83.
Yeah, really impressive stuff.
Yeah, and they were trying feverishly to move up, but they don't. But here they are with the 15th pick.
Here we go, Smashville. From the University of Connecticut, Matthew Wood.
And there it is, Matthew Wood from UConn and from Lethbridge, selected 15th overall. Father Jamie, Mother Carrie, and a great moment for that family.
3 of the 4 BC boys who hung out as youngsters. Matthew Wood, at 9 years old, lived with Connor Bedard. And then, of course, they've got their buddy in the middle of it all, Zach Benson. Now they're all waiting on Andrew Crystal to be picked. But this group of players grew up playing together. They pushed one another. Wood decided against going to the Regina Pats to play with Bedard in the CHL because he wanted to carve his own path by going to UConn. He went to UConn after being named the BCHL Rookie of the Year, put almost a point per game up, and really exceeded all expectations. Playing for Mike Cavanaugh, who, by the way, is the same coach that Tage Thompson had. It was a slow burn for Tage Thompson to get to where he is. Tage Thompson is a National Hockey League star, and the Nashville Predators are hoping the very same thing is going to happen here with Matthew Wood.
And there it is. Again, it's been this nice run of Western Canadians coming now in the last few picks and out of UConn. 35 games, and as you said, modest numbers, like 11 goals, modest numbers, but here's a guy who could do a lot of different things and really an exceptional young man.
Yeah, and you have to love the fact that he was the youngest player in the NCAA this year. So you walk in as a freshman, and you're looking around wide-eyed, and it didn't get off to a great start for him, but it didn't take him very long to acclimate himself. And next thing you know, the point-per-game numbers, Mike Cavanaugh saying, I have to keep playing him. I'm playing him more and more and in more high-leverage situations because he's been so good for us. I think it's the shot that really speaks volumes about his game. At the end of the year at the under-18s, he started to show a little bit more grit, some compete. That final game for Canada in the bronze, he was excellent there, and that is part of why that recency bias allowed him to be picked 15th overall.
So Matthew Wood, 15th overall, and he's rocking that jersey. And he looks excited. And there's a guy, Canadian roots, but played down in the NCAAs.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about what this guy's abilities are. Yeah, it's on and off the stick in a hurry. Right shot, there he goes. And now he gets a chance to work off the half wall, brings it to the middle of the ice. Oh, it looks a little bit like Connor Bedard, little curl and drag. Let's take this thing to the top shelf. Yeah, okay, I'm ahead of the pack a little bit. No way you're stopping me. I'm going to go low glove. So Wood is the type of guy who's got an excellent shot. We look at Tage Thompson compared with Matthew Wood over the course of their draft-eligible seasons. Very, very similar.
All right, so that's 15th overall. Let's zoom back to 1st overall, and we welcome in Connor Bedard, the newest member of the Chicago Blackhawks. And Connor, congratulations to you. I hope you can hear me okay.
Yeah.
Okay, well, congratulations to you. You're looking good, by the way. Looking very good there, the big smile. Listen, your journey, it ends right now, but it started out, you were a little guy. You were impressing everyone back at the Brick Tournament when you were 10 years of age. Talk about what was so meaningful about this journey from you, from the little Connor Bedard to the Chicago Blackhawks Connor Bedard.
Yeah, it's been amazing. I think that was so big this morning. I think talking with my family and the journey we've been on together, and yeah, you got some highlights there. But no, it's been so much fun, and I have such a love and passion for the game, and to be able to play it every day because of my parents and family has been unbelievable.
Well, what's next for you? We're going to go through some stuff, some PR stuff, and now you get the opportunity to really go to work. Where does it go right from tomorrow on?
Yeah, I mean, obviously kind of be here tomorrow. I think I have some friends that'll kind of go here, shortly and whatnot tomorrow. So, be there for them and then head to development camp, which I can't wait for to, get to the city and kind of see everything, meet everyone. And, it's just a really exciting time.
Just wanted to get your reaction. Kyle Davidson made a big trade a couple of days ago, bringing in Taylor Hall, and and Nick Foligno, who he was able to re-sign. And what are your thoughts on that? Have you had a chance, probably haven't had a chance to speak to Taylor or Nick yet, but what were your thoughts on that trade?
No, it's great for sure. I mean, two guys have had unbelievable careers so far, and I think for me to be able to kind of learn from them and be a bit of a sponge when they're around, of course, and two guys that'll help the team win games as well. So that's really exciting for the franchise.
Connor, such a special moment for you and your family. I know they've made so many sacrifices to get you here. You're such a humble young man. How much are you thinking about your grandfather, at this time, this special moment for you?
Yeah, I got the little chip here. I don't know if I've shown you guys if you want to see it.
Sure, we'd love to see it.
Yeah, but I think it's obviously tough for me and my family not having him here, but try to get it out of here. This little thing I got was, we love to play cards and stuff, and I got him on here, so just kind of having him with me and on this day, and I'm sure he's watching.
Garth is looking down at you. He's proud. We're all proud of you, and you have a great future. Thank you so much, Connor.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, good luck.
All right, and next up, we can tell you the Calgary Flames, they're on the board at 16. They're ready to make their selection, and it's a special moment, obviously, for Craig Conroy, who replaced Brad Trey Living. 9 years as the assistant GM. Here he is, ready to make his first pick as a member of the Calgary Flames management.
First of all, we'd like to thank the Nashville Predators and the city of and the people of Nashville. We've had a great time this week. Thank you very much. I'd like to congratulate the Vegas Golden Knights on a Stanley Cup championship. And finally, there's not a general manager sitting at the table tonight or anybody that's been a manager in this league for the last 25 years that hasn't been positively influenced by David Poile. He did his job with class and dignity and honesty, and wish him lots of success, much success in his future. For our first pick, I'd like to introduce our new general manager, Craig Conroy.
I want to thank all our season ticket holders back at the draft party at the TELUS Club in the Scotiabank Saddledome. Hope they're having a good time. With our first pick, we're going to take from the Vancouver Giants, Samuel Honzek.
All right, more WHL love here in the first round of the entry draft time. Honzek taken 16th overall by the Calgary Flames, and this is a large gentleman, 6'4", one of the taller players you're going to see drafted. Again, he was injured at the World Juniors, had his leg cut by a skate, but that didn't really slow him down. Second in the WHL, goals by a rookie, and all smiles as he heads ready to put on that Flames jersey.
Jason and I went out to Langley, BC to watch the CHL, NHL Top Prospects game, and we're interviewing a bunch of players. Samuel Honzek wasn't on the list, but we happened to run into him in the hallway, and we started up a conversation with him, and I was amazed how engaged he was in the conversation. That says a lot to me about a guy, but also very well thought out. There was an opportunity for him to stay home, play professionally, make some money, but he wanted to chart a different path that he thought would make him get to the NHL a little quicker. He chose to go to the Vancouver Giants. A great program there. You're in an NHL city. You know there's going to be a lot of eyes on you in terms of scouts coming to watch you all the time. And that yet still have the experience of what it's like to play junior hockey, play a 68-game schedule when he wasn't hurt. It was unfortunate we didn't get to see him at the World Juniors, but I do love what he brought to the table for the Vancouver Giants in the Western Hockey League, hanging around Vancouver now, working out with Brendan Gallagher and his dad, Ian. They'll put him through the paces.
I trust his approach, guys. He's 6'3.5", 195 pounds now. When you look at him at the combine, he looks like he can carry 220 easily. Like, he's very, very lean. He does a lot of things really well. He doesn't do one thing exceptionally well. I think he's a 2F on projection, but he'll play the game the right way. He'll come every day to compete. The NHL's a hard league. There's a lot of bad days in the league. On those days, this is a guy you're going to be able to count on.
I had him going there in my mock draft at 16, and I said if the board shakes down here, that Craig Conroy would be running to the podium to get this guy. I think some earlier projections had him sitting around that top 10 mark. Obviously, the board was shaken up here a little bit, especially by Arizona. Honzek's available to Calgary. They get a big guy with skill.
Yeah, and there is Sam Honzek, all smiles. You saw him, he had a bit of a burgundy suit rocking, too. That seems to be a theme. Oh, a very Western theme. Chicago Blackhawks. And Connor, congratulations to you. I hope you can hear me okay.
Yeah.
Okay, well, congratulations to you. You're looking good, by the way. Looking very good there, the big smile. Listen, your journey, it ends right now, but it started out, you were a little guy. You were impressing everyone back at the Brick Tournament when you were 10 years of age. Talk about what was so meaningful about this journey from you, from the little Connor Bedard to the Chicago Blackhawks Connor Bedard.
Yeah, it's been amazing. I think that was so big this morning. I think talking with my family and the journey we've been on together, and you got some highlights there. But no, it's been so much fun, and I have such a love and passion for the game, and to be able to play it every day because of my parents and family has been unbelievable.
Well, what's next for you? We're going to go through some stuff, some PR stuff, and now you get the opportunity to really go to work. Where does it go right from tomorrow on?
Yeah, I mean, obviously kind of be here tomorrow. I think I have some friends that'll kind of go here, shortly and whatnot tomorrow. So, be there for them and then head to development camp, which I can't wait for to, get to the city and kind of see everything, meet everyone. And, it's just a really exciting time.
Just wanted to get your reaction. Kyle Davidson made a big trade a couple of days ago, bringing in Taylor Hall and Nick Foligno, who he was able to re-sign. And what are your thoughts on that? Have you had a chance to, probably haven't had a chance to speak to Taylor or Nick yet, but what were your thoughts on that trade?
No, it was great for sure. I mean, two guys have had unbelievable careers so far, and I think for me to be able to kind of learn from them and be a bit of a sponge when they're around, of course, and two guys that'll help the team win games as well. So that's really exciting for the franchise.
Connor, such a special moment for you and your family. I know they've made so many sacrifices to get you here. You're such a humble young man. How much are you thinking about your grandfather, at this time, this special moment for you?
Yeah, I got the little chip here. I don't know if I've shown you guys if you want to see it.
Sure, we'd love to see it.
But I think it's obviously tough for me and my family not having him here, but try to get it out of here. This little thing I got was, we love to play cards and stuff, and I got him on here, so just kind of having him with me and on this day, and I'm sure he's watching.
Garth is looking down at you. He's proud. We're all proud of you, and you have a great future. Thank you so much, Connor.
Thank you.
Selected number 1 by the Chicago Blackhawks.
Yeah, it's an unbelievable feeling to be here with my family and friends and get to hear my name be called and experience that, especially such a storied organization and everything I've heard about the city, the people there is nothing but positive. So can't wait for that, and very thankful that all the staff, Kyle and Luke, everyone put their faith in me with that pick.
And just what does it mean for you to be selected number 1 by the Chicago Blackhawks?
Yeah, it's an unbelievable feeling to be here with my family and friends and get to hear my name be called and experience that, especially such a storied organization and everything I've heard about the city, the people there is nothing but positive. So can't wait for that, and very thankful that all the staff, Kyle and
the moment your name was announced.
It was so special. I mean, I'm so grateful for all the people that took the money out of their wallets and took time out of their schedule to come down here for me, and I can't thank them enough for doing that, and obviously being in that row with my brother, my parents, trainers. It was amazing. I couldn't thank everybody enough for being here.
Connor Bedard had a token of appreciation for his grandfather who had passed. Your grandmother, Mariola, how special is she to you, and what would she be thinking here?
Yeah, I'm sure she's at home having a good time, but yeah, I'm pretty upset she couldn't make it, but it's understandable given the circumstances. So I had her on the inside of my coat, and I have her on my back right now, so she was coming up there with me.
Awesome stuff.
Adam, have you given some thought to what you want to do next year? What will the process be now that you've been drafted by Columbus with respect to where you'll play?
I haven't yet, to be honest with you. I was kind of waiting to see what team and then talking to them and talking to people around me and seeing after that, but I'm sure those conversations will start to happen now.
Johnny Gaudreau, Patrick Laine, anyone reach out yet to say welcome to the team?
I just took a quick swipe through. I saw Boone Jenner. I saw Kent Johnson. So
would you say lose my number? That's awesome. I mean, this must be really cool. Have you been to Columbus?
Yeah, I was there to play against OSU this year, and then I was in Cleveland as well for the outdoor game.
But I wanted to ask you about that. You go blue, and now it's going to be the Ohio State University. How are you going to transition?
It'll always be go blue.
Nice. Well, congratulations, Adam. This is really exciting time, and I should ask you what's sort of next as far as the immediate future right now. What are you going to be doing over the next month or two to get ready?
Yeah, as soon as I can, I'm going to get back down to Plymouth, and I'm going to be training there and trying to get ready for the next season, whether that's with Columbus or whether that's back in Michigan. So I just want to get big, as fast, and as strong as I can get for next season. And then in immediate future, I'm just going to be sitting here waiting for Gavin Brindley to go.
Nice. Yeah, family and friends. Luca Del Belbelou is the guy you grew up playing minor hockey with, Columbus pick. Must be exciting to think that you guys are going to be reunited here at some point.
Oh, yeah. We were used to be teammates and line mates in Toronto there with the Red Wings. So it'll be really great to get back on the ice with him.
Well, Adam, congratulations. And for those that don't know, you're a bit of a two-sport athlete, too. I know you threw out the first pitch a little while ago.
You can't call me a two-sport athlete after that. That was awful.
And here it is. Yeah, what happened here? Was it nerve-wracking? Oh, sorry. We're sewering you here on national TV.
No, it's all good. It's all good. I was practicing at the Michigan field off the mound, and I was gotten used to throwing it down from that distance. And as soon as I got up there, she's like, "Yeah, you're not allowed to touch the mound. Only the pitchers can go up there." So I was like, "All right. There's no chance I can throw this in the dirt, so maybe I just put a little bit higher."
Well, listen, you had great success at Michigan. You're going to have great success at Columbus. We really appreciate you taking the time. Enjoy it.
Thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it.
And there is Adam Fantilli, the 3rd overall pick. And look at the freshman. This is the company he keeps. Paul Correa winning the Hobey Baker as a freshman. Jack Eichel, now a Stanley Cup winner, winning the Hobey Baker as a freshman. And Adam Fantilli, can't wait to see what he does in Columbus for the Blue Jackets. All right, we're can get you back now onto the floor because we're 17th overall is the Detroit Red Wings. They've already taken Nate Danielson 9th overall, and now they're going to be picking 17th overall as well. Steve Yzerman with a lot of work to do. Again, Detroit, they've missed the playoffs the last 7 years. They've added great Nate. What are they going to do at 17? Any thoughts on this, Sam?
Well, Detroit, has that luxury of the second 2 highest picks. We looked at Arizona at 6 and 12, and now they're pretty confident with the player they like. Again, we talk about the depth of this draft class. There's a number of ways in which they can go here. It'll be interesting to see which way Steve Yzerman takes this. Remember, this is an organization that's had a lot of success going to Sweden. Håkan Andersson, the legendary scout there. We'll see if that's the direction they go here.
They're taking the stage. Jason, any thoughts here for the Detroit Red Wings? We see they've added a talented forward in Nate Danielson, and now here they are moments away from a second first-round pick.
Yeah, we're getting into that situation here where I'm starting to get more and more curious about what's going to go off the board defensively. So it's going to be interesting. There's some real good players on the back end still on the board here.
All right, well, let's hear from the Detroit Red Wings as they make a second first-round pick.
Before making our selection, I'd like to thank all the Red Wing fans back in Detroit at Little Caesars Arena who are watching the draft live. We really appreciate your support. With the 17th pick, the Red Wings select from Sollefteå, Sweden of the SHL, Axel Sandin-Pellikka.
Big hugs there, especially for his father, Yanni, an elite-level cross-country skier. So, he's got a lot of sports in his pedigree there from Sweden. And you know what, Chuck, you said earlier, that right-handed shot defenseman almost as coveted as a center, and that's what they went with, the right-handed shot defenseman.
Yeah, they did. They're hard to find, and, Steve has some size on the back end already. Sider, Edvinson's coming, Wallinder's coming, and they moved Ronak last year, to Vancouver, and Sandin-Pellikka's a guy that can come in. He's 5'11", but he can defend, and these guys can talk about the scouting report, but this is a good player.
Yeah, and here's the thing. Back in November, he wasn't really on the radars. How did he get on the radar and ultimately into the first round?
Wow, I mean, his skating ability, his poise, he plays mistake-free type of hockey, and that's what I love most about this guy. When you go back and think about what the defensemen were going to be, I thought 3 right-shot defensemen would be taken in the first half of this draft. We missed by 1. I also figured Detroit might jump on this player at pick number 9. That didn't happen because I think a player that they didn't think was going to be there was there. Now they get a chance to move down the list a little bit. They get that same player that I projected at 9 here at number 17, a real good complementary player to the defense that they already have, obviously a couple of years away.
two-way transitional defenseman. He's going to quarterback at worst your second power play unit. He's an area defender with an active stick. Not a lot of bump and grind to his game. He'll track back. He'll get the pucks first. Like if somebody goes to chip it behind him on a dump in, he's going to get there first. He's going to move it up ice quickly.
Erik Karlsson is his idol as a hockey player. If they can get something close to Erik Karlsson, my goodness, they have literally won the lottery here with the 17th overall pick. Much more to talk about, but we do want to get it to Kyle, who has something to add. Kyle.
Yeah, Dave, well, thankfully for Axel Sandin Pellikka, he never had a difficult time finding ice growing up in Sweden. His father, Yanni, or you mentioned, DA, would build a small pad of ice in the yard during the winter, so he had a space to skate and work on his skills. In fact, at one time, though, they had the key to a local arena so he could skate nearly whenever he wanted to. A defenseman who wore 88 lots growing up because he idolized Patrick Kane along with Erik Karlsson now has the key to the hearts of Detroit and the Red Wings. Dave?
I love that story. We see that with so many of these kids. They're inspired. That's why, Wayne Gretzky would always say, I have to put on a show every time I play because I know there's some young child watching me, maybe wanting to emulate me, maybe wanting to follow in my career. And you've seen these guys are now following a lot of the footsteps of the future Hall of Famers that we're seeing.
Yeah, it's such great inspiration to young players. Then you grow up watching them, you emulate them, and then all of a sudden at 13 years old, you're saying, hey, maybe I can be one of those players. What's impressive to me about this guy is the way he ended the year. At the under-18s, he was named the top defenseman there, ended up picking up 11 points, including 5 against Canada and an 8-0 win to open the tournament.
Let's get you back down to the floor, Steve Yzerman and Elliot Friedman.
If there's anything that's fitting, it's the Detroit Red Wings and a Swedish defenseman. I'm curious, how much influence did Nicklas Lidstrom have on this pick?
Really, to be honest, none. Nick, not only Nick Lidstrom, Nick Cronwell. The reason why is Nick couldn't get here. His flight got canceled. I think he's still driving to Detroit as we speak here. He couldn't make it from New York here. So, but we have Nick Cronwall, Nick Lidstrom in Sweden. Obviously, Håkan Andersson's been scouting for us in Sweden a long time, as well as Thomas Karlsson. They're all there watching in Sweden. You've probably seen him play a little bit. He's a smart defenseman. He passes the puck well. He skates well. So he's in the mold of some of those good Swedish defensemen we've had in the past.
Thanks very much, Steve, and I hope he makes it to Detroit.
Yeah, we hope so, too. He's important. I don't want to lose him.
Thank you.
All right, so that was number 17, Steve Yzerman. Number 18 on the board, the Winnipeg Jets.
Hey, Ducks fans, Luke Olsen here. Super excited to join that name, Ducks, and super excited for the future as well.
Being moved. There's lots of speculation about Wheeler, Scheifele, Hellebuck, etc. He's got to concern himself, though, with the 18th overall pick. So what we see in store? Well, hold on. We're going to get to the Jets in a minute, but first let's get you back down to the floor with Karen.
Thanks, David. Well, Axel, when your dad came home from a business trip as a kid, he gifted you a Patrick Kane jersey, and this dream was born. Fair to say that's your new favorite jersey?
Oh, yeah, for sure. No questions asked.
What was the moment like hearing your name called?
Such a sign of relief, and, I was waiting for my name to be called the whole time, and, Detroit is such a great organization. It's a part of the original 6, so I'm very happy to join this great organization.
What influence did your dad have on this moment?
Mostly just off ice practices, and he helps me train mentally too, right, during the season. I think that's one part that helps me a lot, to still build confidence. Even though I had a bad game, I can still, focus on the next one and, just continue to play my game. So he's been helping me a lot with that.
Well, Axel, congratulations.
Thank you.
David?
All right, thank you. So there's the newest member of the Detroit Red Wings, and we see Kevin Cheveldayoff in the brass of the Jets taking the stage. Really quickly, your thoughts here, Sam.
Well, I love what they've done so far. You had an asset that didn't want to be there. You turned him into 4 really good pieces, including a couple of younger players. Iafallo's super serviceable. Velarde, really good player with his 23 goals last year. I like what they were able to do with an asset that didn't want to be there anymore in Pierre-Luc Dubois.
All right, well, let's get you down to the stage. Again, it's the Winnipeg Jets. Their only first-round pick, number 18 overall. Remember, they lost to the Vegas Golden Knights in 5 games in the first round, looking to bounce back quickly. We'll see what they have at 18.
On behalf of the Winnipeg Jets, I'd like to thank the city of Nashville for tremendous events. I'd love to congratulate David Poile for a tremendous career. Thank you very much for all your mentorship. I also would like to say hello to all our fans back at Canada Life Centre at our draft barbecue. Winnipeg Jets are proud to select from Owen Sound of the OHL Colby Barlow.
Colby Barlow, the latest pick and a member now of the Winnipeg Jets. It's not often at 18 you can get a 46-goal scorer and the youngest captain actually in franchise history for the Owen Sound team. Really Ontario cheering right now for Colby Barlow. What do you make of this pick?
I love it. I love this player. I mean, I love the leadership that he brings to the table, the intangibles that he brings to the table. Of course, you've got that great goal-scoring ability. He didn't show well at the under-18s because he was dealing with a right hip flexor and probably at some points shouldn't have been playing. But he wanted to play for his country. He wanted to gut it out, and he wanted to prove that, hey, this representing my country is extremely, extremely important to me. Playing in a good program in Owen Sound, had 30 goals in his rookie year, 46 this year, 76 goals over a 2-year span is nothing to sneeze at.
And Chuck, you'll like this. You're a Harvard guy. Well, this is the CHL Scholastic Player of the Year, so he's got some brains too. How much do you factor that in? You want the full package, but someone who can think quickly on their toes.
Well, absolutely, and it shows you he's dedicated to everything in his life. And it's an exciting pick for Winnipeg. Last year, grabbing McGroarty and Lambert, but McGroarty can score. This kid can score. Obviously, they have Connor, Buffetti, Ehlers, guys that can score, but they have a lot of skill in Winnipeg. This is a good young player.
And Jason, you got to smile. You're liking this as well.
I love this. I'm telling you right now, Mark Hillier absolutely didn't expect for this kid to drop in his lap at this stage of the draft. This could be the future captain of the Winnipeg Jets, face of the franchise type of guy. That's how great his character is. He cares about his teammates. He cares about community. He leads by example. 76 goals the last couple of years in the Ontario League. Just an elite player. Really happy for Winnipeg.
You think character played a big role here, guys? Remember what Rick Bowness said after they were eliminated. He said 7 times no pushback. 7 times in the post-game news conference. He said, I'm disgusted, I'm disappointed. He was venting a little bit, but is this a guy who can maybe help change a little bit of whatever problems might exist there in culture?
Oh, I think down the road, there's no question. He's going to have a presence in the locker room in Winnipeg, and a guy who's going to be so appreciative of this opportunity that I see him being the long-term type of player for this organization.
Yeah, we can't discount that, Chuck. There are certain franchises in the league that you want to draft the best player available, no questions asked, but you also want to try and forecast the fit in your community. Is this guy going to be a Winnipeg Jet for a long period of time? I believe he will be. I think that's the other side of this ledger that gave them a lot of confidence here in this slot.
Absolutely. It's always been a battle in Winnipeg, as we all know, and to find these guys that can come in, play well, and want to be there is really important.
And a mature young man, he told Carolyn Cameron at the Combine he could grow a beard at age 7. I thought it was a great line, actually. And give us the scouting report. What do you gentlemen have as far as Barlow as a player?
Well, this is a story for me that speaks to character. Last game of the year as a 16-year-old, he's sitting on 29 goals. The entire game, they're trying to get him the puck to get him to that 30-goal mark. This guy stands up in the bench in the middle of the game and says, hey, stop passing me the puck. 30 goals doesn't matter. We got to go win this hockey game. He ends up recording 15 shots on goal, the last being the overtime winner to get to number 30. Can you imagine a 16-year-old looking down a bench of 17, 18, 19, 20-year-olds and saying, stop giving me the puck, we got to win this game? That's the type of character that this guy brings to the table. That's why he's the captain and the youngest one in Owen Sound franchise history.
Yeah, draft eligible players, 5th most goals available. We're still waiting for Gabe Perreault to find a team, but Colby Barlow has a team, and he's with our Carolyn.
Colby, you've known since you were in kindergarten that you wanted to be an NHLer one day. What does it mean to not just get drafted in the NHL, but to a Canadian team?
Oh, it's just incredibly special. I mean, it's hard to put this into words. I mean, it's, something you've been dreaming about your entire life. And, for it to happen, especially to a Canadian team, it's pretty incredible.
And credit to your parents, too, for keeping the proof of the drawings from kindergarten. Does that surprise you or no?
My mom saves everything, so it doesn't at all.
They were talking, the panel, about how you're the Scholastic Player of the Year, youngest captain in Owen Sound history. What kind of leader are you?
I think just lead by example. I just make sure I'm doing everything 110% on and off the ice. Just be a good person first and foremost, and it'll take you a long way.
Well, Colby, congratulations. Enjoy tonight.
Thank you so much.
David?
All right, so there it is. Colby Barlow, now a member of the Winnipeg Jets, and all smiles there. And I think it's great when you see the excitement on the friends and families' faces, right? It's probably relief, but it's also excitement, pure excitement, as we wait for the Chicago Blackhawks who are back on the board at 19. Can you speak to that? Because, Sam, you're around these prospects so much. Just the emotion that they're feeling tonight?
And there would be a lot of emotion because this young man had to do a lot to be able to progress his career in minor hockey. He lives about 2 hours north of Toronto, but had to move closer to the city in order to play his minor hockey at a high enough level.
All right, let's get you down to Elliot Friedman.
Kevin, I've heard a lot of really good things about this guy. Told Carolyn you can grow a beard at age 7. Was that why you took him? What did you like?
Well, he's a hard-nosed player and someone that has tremendous skill, but we just love the way he plays. And if you watch the playoffs, that's the type of players that help you win championships.
All right, ask Craig Conroy the same question. There's been a lot of talk around Winnipeg. Do you have anything hot cooking right now?
We just picked Colby Barlow. That's real hot.
Thanks very much, Kevin.
Thank you.
Oh, that's a great answer. Elliot's doing his best. That's a great answer, Sam.
So you guys are going to appreciate this. If you're a young player out there, you're about to go into your draft year, don't grow the full beard, okay? Colby Barlow had the full beard all year long. Why? Hey, what do you mean don't grow the full beard? Scouts look at you and they say, you know what? This guy is maxed out in terms of his growth. Colby Barlow, it didn't matter to him. He had that full beard the whole season long. But if you're out there watching, don't grow the whole thing. Keep nice and tight. Keep it clean shaven. That way you'll trick scouts into thinking that maybe you're not at your full growth potential.
All right, a little less fanfare for Kyle Davidson and the Chicago Blackhawks. They already have Connor Bedard at number 1. We'll see who they take at number 19. This pick from Tampa, courtesy of the Brandon Hagel trade a couple of years ago. Again, Chicago on the board. They only had an 11% chance of winning the lottery. They won the lottery, and now here they are with a second first-round pick.
With the 19th pick in the NHL draft, the Chicago Blackhawks are very proud to select Oliver Moore from the U.S. National Development Program.
Well, if you want a great skater, you got one in Oliver Moore. He's considered, what, arguably the best skater in this class, Sam?
Yeah, I'd say he'd be right up there with the best of them for sure. And a really interesting guy because I challenged him a little bit at the Combine about having fast feet and maybe not having quite the hands to match that. So he recognized that. We had a good chat about it, and I talked to his trainer today, and it was interesting what he had to say about things because they're using 3 different techniques that they think will work to help him process the game a little quicker. They're going in the cold tub and forcing him to do math complications there, math formulations. So your body's racing 100 miles, you're sitting in the cold tub, slow the brain down, do the math. Then go into the sauna, nasal breaths, 100 of them, really difficult to do. And the last thing is diving sticks in a pool with different variations about those diving sticks, throwing them into the pool using one breath to pick them all up. Again, your mind is going 1,000 miles a minute. You want your body to slow down, and that's exactly the type of thing that I challenged him on and the thing that he's working on. There's no question the speed plays.
For me, when I watch this kid play all year long, guys, if he would have been centering the top line at the U.S. National Team Development Program, he would have had another 25 or 30 points by the end of the season. He was in the 2-hole at the Worlds. He outscored the big line himself. Those 3 guys at an elite tournament, he scored the most amount of points against the best teams in the tournament. It says something. Speed, tenacity. He's a 2F on projection, can play in all situations.
Chuck, how much has skating, the fact that GMs covet skating more? I know that sounds like a ridiculous question, but it's so much a bigger part. Speed is so much a bigger part of the game than it was 15 years ago, it seems, where physicality was a bigger part. How much has that changed the dynamic of selecting players?
Well, the game is just so fast now, the way we play. We're moving pucks up the ice quickly. It's a track meet out there a lot of times, and this guy may be the fastest guy in the draft. But, you know, again, smart players can find out where to go if they're not the fastest. But, boy, it's a fast game right now. You look at the teams that are successful in our league, and this guy can fly.
Yeah, he committed to the University of Minnesota. Oliver Moore goes 19th to Chicago. And Kyle Davidson, they're looking to get back to the postseason, and pretty good time for Oliver Moore because he'll be a teammate of Connor Bedard. That's not a bad thing at all. A lot of emotion here in Nashville. A lot of guys wanting to hug it out as their names are called. And it's been a lot of fun, but we're hitting pick 20 with Seattle. Coming your way next from Nashville. More hugs on the way. The NHL entry draft on Sportsnet.
6-piece McNuggets meal with Cajun and sweet chili dips, please. What do you want?
Nothing.
Nothing. Yeah, right.
Those dips look good, though.
It's never nothing with this guy.
She'll probably offer me a nugget.
Yes.
Sports interaction is homegrown. It's at the heartbeat of your players, teams, and passion. Bet live and get in the game with Sports Interaction.
The heavy hitter. The original. The award winner. The non-conformist. The weekend warrior. There's an award-winning Ram truck just for you, with a full line of trucks for immediate delivery during month of Ram. Get 15% off MSRP on Ram Classic for up to $11,000 in discounts. Plus, get 4.99% financing.
The stage is set. The best in tennis are coming to Toronto, and we will be there, watching closely. Because there's a silent thrill in knowing that history is about to be made. But there's a deafening excitement to being there when it is. Feel history being made. Feel tennis. Get your tickets now for the National Bank Open presented by Rogers.
Just saw Oliver Moore selected to Chicago. His journey to skating excellence dates back 7-8 years ago when he first started working with skating coach Katie McDonough. He was a track star as a kid. He ran the mile in under 5 minutes in middle school. And initially, he was almost trying to skate like he ran. So Katie said they completely revamped his stride and built his technique block by block. Oliver used to bring in video of how Connor McDavid would skate and tell Katie, I want to skate like him. And she would just say, hey, trust the process. And now you're hearing the comparisons to the skating styles after all the work he has put in. Katie is here tonight to support Oliver. Doesn't work with many NHLers, she says, but I've got a feeling that is about to change, David.
Yeah, that's a good way to get business when they see how he can fly up and down the ice. Seattle is on the board, and what a season for Ron Francis's Kraken, right? A 40-point improvement, guys. It's hard to have a 40-point improvement. Then they knock off the defending champs in the first round of the postseason. An incredible run for them, and now they're going to be picking at 20. So let's get back down onto the stage, and Ron Francis ready for the Kraken's first pick at number 20 of the draft.
Seattle Kraken is proud to select from Cometa Brno, Eduard Chalet.
That was former NHLer Robert Cron, the director of scouting, making the pick, not Ron Francis. He picks Edouard Chalet, 20th overall from Czechia. And he played at the World Juniors, guys. You know, what can you tell us about this right winger and his upside being selected 20th overall?
He's a guy who compares himself to Jonathan Huberdeau. He's a skilled player. I think back to the World Juniors and against Canada in the final, last 10 minutes of the third period and overtime. This guy was engaged physically. He was making plays under pressure. He was finding open guys, taking shots. What I loved about that is I just bottled that. And you look at the rest of his year with some inconsistency, trouble getting minutes at the pro game, and you thought, if I can bottle that 10 to 15 minutes, I've got a player on my hands. And I think that's what Seattle looked at. And I think coming down the road here and getting an opportunity maybe to change his course a little bit in terms of being able to get more minutes this year, huge for his development.
Yeah, he was a tough guy to scout for me because he started the season really, really well at the Hlinka Memorial last year in Red Deer. And I mean, coming out of that event, if the draft happened in September, which it doesn't, he would have been a top 8 pick probably. Like, he was that good. It kind of planed out here and there through the course of the season. I liked his detail at the World Juniors, though. It wasn't just offense, 3-zone detail. At the end of the year, at the under-18s in Swiss, he carried a lot of the group with him, so he ended the season on a high as well. Listen, he's a crafty player, real good on the half wall. He's one of the few players in the draft that makes plays very well forehand and backhand.
This is their third first-round pick. Matty Beniers, of course, the Rookie of the Year, 2nd overall a couple of years ago. Shane Wright, 4th overall. And now they add another first-rounder here. And I love that. This is the part where they're meeting, you know, it's like such a different meeting. The power position has suddenly changed, right? They're grilling you and asking all these questions, and now it's like, all right, I need a new contract, right? Is that how you felt when you went on the stage a little bit, Chuck?
Yeah, absolutely. But this is a good pick for Seattle. It's a lot of skill. I mean, this is a franchise 2nd year in existence. They get to the playoffs. Their American League team gets to Game 7 of the playoffs, and now they draft a high skill kid like this.
There's an example of what I'm talking about, coming off the wall there, far down off the backhand. Gary's going to go from the other side, takes one step, head up, and he's going to rip a puck here for a goal at the Worlds. I just, guys, like we're seeing a lot of these goals here, a lot of these plays from inside the dots, inside the hash marks. I like that about it, okay? I like that about him. He's got that in him. He does. There's absolutely a ton of upside. All the time is what's required.
All right, let's get down to the floor with Jeff Merrick.
Yeah, David, just a quick note here. It looks as though, and I'm like 99.9% sure of this thing, that Chalet is going to go to the Barrie Colts of the OHL next season. You guys talked about development. Sounds like that's the next step for this young man. And listen, you guys know Marty Williamson. He runs a really good program. So one of the best things for this young man, going to the Barrie Colts.
And this is a transition potentially time for the Seattle Kraken. They had that great year this year, but only 6 players are under contract for more than the next 2 seasons. So are you expecting them to be a little bit more involved, just trying to, maybe get a bit more retention of players over the course of the offseason here, Chuck?
I think they will a little bit, but, Ron's a very patient guy, Ron Francis, and they'll build this thing methodically. And, again, they took a big step this year. But, I don't think there's going to be a lot of shortcuts here. They have extra picks. They can trade for a couple players, but they're going to make sure they build this out the right way.
The roster composition is fascinating to me, and I think that's something that's changed here. They are truly a 4-line team. They're a checking team. You don't have that giant 100-point superstar, but you have more of a 4-line approach here. A little bit different roster composition for Seattle.
All right, Ron Francis alongside Elliot Friedman.
You know what they're saying? They're saying that's a Ron Francis pick because there's some similarities to Ron Francis. Do you see it at all?
Well, I mean, our head amateur scout, Robert Braun, is from the Cheshire, so knows the kid very well. We just think he's a big skilled guy. He can play the wing and play the middle, and we're excited to add him to our organization.
How long do you think he's away? How long do you think he is away? How much season do you think he needs?
It's hard to say with these kids. I hate putting timelines on them, and we'll get them into development camp next week, get a closer read on them, and then we'll see with it. Thanks, Elliot. Appreciate it.
All right, so Seattle off the board at
So many of the programs now, it seems like they're the private programs. You have to move away, and Minnesota does it right. Hopefully they can keep it that way.
And a little bit of pressure there as well. They haven't won a playoff series since 2015. Billy Guerin's not afraid to shake things up. We've seen a lot of moves he has made since he's taken over as GM. So let's hear from the 4-time Cup winner.
First of all, I'd like to congratulate David Poile on an amazing career. David, thank you for your friendship. Like Kyle said, being a mentor to so many young general managers out there, we appreciate everything you've done for us in the game. Also, a great thank you to the city of Nashville, especially Tootsies for keeping this entire group well hydrated and entertained.
Oh, man.
That's great. The Minnesota Wild proudly select from the University of Wisconsin, Charlie Stramel.
Bill Guerin keeping it local because Charlie Stramel is from Rosemount, Minnesota. So they take the local kid who just played at Wisconsin, and what do they get in a player known as Big Rig?
That's exactly what they're getting. And looking at his season, 2 games before he left for the World Juniors, they're playing against Minnesota. He takes a suspension, and that sort of changed the tenor of his season. He ends up going to the World Juniors, and he's not relied on as a scorer, more as a penalty kill guy, a guy who can get into the forecheck, a guy who played bottom 6 minutes, but was really effective in that role. I think he went to Wisconsin thinking that he was going to be a high-powered offensive guy. He hasn't turned into that yet. I do think that some of that is still available to him, but I think that World Junior experience was really important for his development, recognizing that playing hard, heavy minutes and utilizing that process will help him offensively. I'll be fascinated to see how this guy turns out because the numbers really have never popped at any level. I think we're still waiting on that, maybe a late bloomer type.
Yeah, there's a lot of projection in this pick. There's no question. He's a big, powerful body, 6'3", 222. He's fine on straight lines. His skating actually came a long way, I have to say. Like from last summer to the end of the year, I was more concerned in October than I was, here in April. So he's going to be able to extend plays for his line mates. That's good news. He can kill penalties, get in the lane, block some shots. The offense is a question mark. We'll see where it goes.
There he is, the newest member of the Minnesota Wild. And he is a big rig, because look at that. He's standing beside some big gentlemen. He's actually towering over them. And we'll see. We do need a new nickname. How many big rigs are there right now in the National Hockey League? Can we come up with something else? I like the idea of calling a big guy tiny. Why don't we do that anymore? We used to do that.
That's old school. Yeah,
that's old school. All right, so much more. We're 21 in and still 11 to go. And Craig Conroy, congratulations to you. You've made your first pick as the GM of the Calgary Flames. Sam Honzik, we're going to be hearing from him. My goodness, look at the consternation there. We'll hear from Sam coming up next.
Giants, Blue Jays, tomorrow. Sportsnet.
Your summer just got cooler with Tim's premium cold coffee drinks. Go for a handcrafted, rich and bold vanilla iced latte, or our new smooth and velvety caramel toffee cold brew, topped with espresso-infused foam. Now that's cool. Keep it cold with Tim's cold coffee drinks all summer long.
Isn't it nice when your coffee comes with a cookie on the side? How did they know you'd like something more? What about streaming a podcast or watching an episode instead of downloading ahead? Nice to have, right? When something's nice to have, more people should have it. That's why you can get Rogers 5G mobile plans now as low as $55 a month and count on more value to come because we're with you all the way.
We've got one hope. A secret laboratory. In the middle of nowhere, our nation's best scientists focused on one goal. End this war. Our boys would come home. I can perform this miracle. Robert, try not to blow up the world.
Oppenheimer in theaters July 21st.
Okay, and root beer to drink?
No. What?
You didn't get root beer?
I'm getting frozen root beer.
Try our frozen A&W root beer.
The 2023 NHL Draft continues tomorrow on Sportsnet.
Welcome back to Bridgestone Arena with the newest member of the Calgary Flames, selected 16th overall, Samuel Honzik. You've had a little bit of time since you walked across that stage. What's been the best part?
I think the best part, I didn't have best part, but I think in that moment when I was walking down, I felt, I could see myself or my life just flashing through my eyes. So it was something special, and I just focused on just walking to the stage and shaking everybody's hand. So it was something unbelievable.
One step at a time, and you did it. I know your parents are so important to you. How did they take the news?
I think they were already crying. They not even hugged me. So I think it's a big thing for them. And, you know, those are the ones who support me all the way to this point. And I think it's a big thank you for them.
Well, congratulations and all the best.
Yeah, thank you very much.
All right, thank you so much, Carolyn. And now the Philadelphia Flyers back on the board. Remember, back at 7, Matvei Michkov taken, the forward from Russia. And now they have the 22nd overall selection as well. Let's hear from the Flyers.
With the 22nd selection, the Flyers are proud to select from the London Knights of the OHL, Oliver Bunk.
Big hugs all around, Oliver Bonk. And if that name sounds familiar, it should. Radek Bonk, his father, taken 13th overall back in 1994 by the Ottawa Senators, a two-time All-Star. And the London Knights, all they do is churn out hockey players and churn out great defensemen. We're going to see some next year as well. But right now we have Oliver Bonk enjoying his moment in the sun.
Yeah, it's interesting to see that the path that these guys are taking now, selected in the second round by the London Knights, and he ends up spending most of last year playing junior B hockey. And as a result of that, he's playing a ton of minutes. He's being really successful, being put in a ton of different situations. but still has the opportunity to practice, show up in 10 regular season games with the Knights, play in 7 playoff games, so that when he starts this season, he hits the ground running, 10 goals, 40 points, and I think there's huge growth potential in this player, not just physically, but his ability to play. Next year, he'll go back to London. For Dale Hunter, he'll be playing all 2 minutes in the power play. He'll be playing a boatload of minutes in all kinds of situations, and I think his career is really about to take off as early as next year.
Yeah, this is a fantastic pick, guys. I mean, he's a pro. You know, like his approach, he's a pro type of young man, similar to a lot of the guys in this first round, to be perfectly honest with you. But right shot D, he does it all. Kills penalties, second unit power play. I don't think he's going to be anything more than a secondary scorer at best at the National Hockey League level, but he's one of the more physical guys in this first round, especially on the back end.
5th defenseman taken in the draft. And Chuck, I want to ask you, when you know that a guy has the pedigree, has a father who played in the NHL, how does that role play? Like, okay, he's been there, he's been at rinks, he knows the game. How much do you factor that in before you select someone?
Well, it's a huge boost because, you know, the player's been around the game, and I'm so old, I remember scouting his dad. In 1994, we drafted Ed Jovanowski. I remember watching Radek Bonk, but obviously he's been around the game. He has a good feel for it. He has somebody in his dad who he can ask questions and lean on, and it'll probably help him a lot along the way.
So there it is, Oliver Bonk out of the London Knights. He was born in Ottawa while Radek was a member of the Senators. And he's taken 22nd overall. Again, the 5th defenseman. A very center-heavy draft, a very forward-heavy draft, but there are a number of great defensemen here, including Oliver Bonk.
Yeah, we're going to take a look at some of his highlights here. So this is what I'm talking about. He bodies up. He's hard to escape. Like, he's around you. He's got an active stick. He can lean on you, and then he can still corral things. This is a great little play. Look at that. That's Chase Stillman, first-round pick to the New Jersey Devils. He pokes it off his stick. That goes end-to-end almost here. Little drop pass, sees it, zips it home. He's a little bit more than everything really well. Like, I mean, I just don't see him doing a lot of that at the NHL level because he's not going to have to. He's going to be a minute muncher in your top 4. He's going to match up, kill penalties, do some heavy lifting.
Well, let's hear from Mr. Bonk, who's down with Carolyn.
Oliver, drafted in the first round of the Philadelphia Flyers, and you join your dad now as an NHLer. What comparisons are there between the two of you? Not necessarily just as players, but even as we'll show you maybe with hairstyles.
Yeah, I think we both give 100% when we're out there all the time, and I think both defensive specialists, I think that's what we have in common.
What influence has he had on your career thus far?
It's been huge. I wouldn't be here without him. Every lesson I learned pretty much from him, so he's the reason why I'm here, and I owe a lot to him.
Okay. Whose hair is better? Yours or your dad?
I'm gonna have to say him. He's got a lot more flow. He had it going for a longer time, so I'll still give it to him.
And just lastly, how do you fit into the Philadelphia Flyers DNA?
I think they're a hard-working team, and they're willing to do whatever they can to win. So I think I'm ready to do that. I think I'm ready to win some games.
Well, congratulations and all the best.
Thank
Here's
you.
Kyle.
All right, Carolyn, yes, alongside the father, Radek Bonk. So your son was just saying, despite his great look for tonight, he still believes you have the better hair of the family. Was there a better way for him to honor you than going with the mullet on draft night?
Oh, yeah, that's, I have to agree, though. Mine was way better. Like, it was a sick salad, but you know what? I'm so happy for him. It's, you know, every kid's chasing this dream, and this is one of the steps that he wanted to achieve, and good for him. A lot of work into it. Can't be prouder.
He said he owes a lot to you. What sort of questions was he asking as he went through this process in his draft year?
Well, I was drafted 29 years ago, so, you know, it was way different. We didn't have interviews or, you know, combine and stuff, so, but I just told him, just enjoy it. You're going to be looking back on this for a long, long time, and you know what, I'm sure he's going to remember it for the rest of his life, so, so happy for him.
Great. Congratulations to you and the whole family.
Thank you very much.
David.
We got to trademark that. Sick salad. He has a sick salad. I love that.
I love it.
And listen, we've seen this before, and you heard Chuck talk about the importance of drafting young men who understand the game and understand all the complexities on and off the ice. And there it is. Radek Bonk, Oliver Bonk join these other first-round fathers and sons that we've seen. And we're still waiting. There's actually some more pedigree there to be chosen. We have the New York Rangers are actually on the clock, and it looks like they're ready to make their selection at 23 overall. Chris Drury and the gang. Let's hear from the Rangers.
The New York Rangers are proud to select from the U.S. Under-18 team, Gabriel Perreault.
Oh, we just mentioned pedigree. Well, there's Yannick Perreault. Jacob was also drafted by Anaheim back in 2020, and his sister Lillian, she plays at Maryhurst University. So it's in the family. It's all around. Mom Julie's loving what we're seeing, as well as her son Gabe Perreault has just been taken 23rd overall. By the Rangers. This guy put up absolutely ridiculous numbers. What do you make of that?
Well, let's see. Austin Matthews? Yeah. See you later. Taking over the all-time single-season mark for points in a season. Also broke the assist record. This guy is a playmaker extraordinaire. Now, you can see by his frame, he needs to add some strength, which he's already done. He needs to add some size. He's willing to put the work in, but he is so crafty and so shifty. He reminds me a little bit of Mitch Marner, because you can't sleep on him on the backtrack. He's got a really good stick, but when he has the puck from the offensive side of things, you better be aware, because he'll find a way, a seam or a delay or some way to get you the puck. I love his playmaking ability.
Suit of the day so far for me, guys. I don't know. That striped suit was fantastic. But listen, this kid here, you can't sleep on him ever. Like, off the puck, on the puck. When he gets it, so the good things are happening in the offensive zone. So you have to stick with him. Man-on-man coverage in the defensive zone. You better not let this guy slide off you, because when he gets it, he's creating offense. He's an elite stick.
Obviously, the Rangers were surprised he was there. There's no name tag on the back of the jersey, so that could be a home run pick at 23. This is a high-skilled kid.
That's a good catch by you. You guys always are generally prepared. You want to make it a special time. What do you think happened there?
I can't speak, but normally we would have 30 or 40 nameplates, because you never know if you're going to trade for another first-round pick, but they were caught off guard.
Cost cuts. I'm chalking off to cost cuts. The upper deck room, they're already getting their hockey cards made. The top picks have been made. Many more coming your way from Nashville next.
And that from your neighborhood. Get more delivered with DoorDash.
When did we stop just playing? Times might have changed. But remember, the best stories always start when we get outside and play. We don't have to be young to play. Playing keeps us young. It tests us. It connects us. It takes us on adventures. And it keeps us dreaming of that one perfect shot. Whatever your reason, come out and play.
You guys ready?
I'll pay for it.
We'll split it.
Split expenses with the RBC mobile app. Get the new iPad when you switch to RBC.
Okay, and root beer to drink?
No. What?
You didn't get root beer?
I'm getting frozen root beer.
Try our frozen A&W root beer. The new $50 Mega Instant Ticket has huge top prizes of $5 million.
That's huge!
A game so big, it's giant.
With the newest member of the New York Rangers, that's Gabe Perreault, to top off an incredible season for Team USA. Your dad, Yannick, he played. He won a Stanley Cup in the office with Chicago. He's got to cheer for the Rangers now.
So having him is so special.
Memories of that Cup win?
Yeah, I think I was pretty young, so I think living in those moments was pretty cool. I think with my brothers and my sister was definitely pretty special.
And now time to chase your own. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you so much.
David?
All right, thanks, Carolyn. And again, you hear some cheers here at Bridgestone Arena. It's because the Nashville Predators are back on the board. They've already made a selection.
Go.
With 24th pick of 2023 draft,
Nashville is proud to select Tanner Molendyk from Saskatoon. Welcome to Nashville, Tanner.
The dramatic pause there by Pekka Rinne, but it is Tanner Molendyk, the Saskatoon Blade from McBride, BC. A lot of WHL players. They had already selected Matthew Wood earlier, and now they have Tanner Molendyk as well. What do you make of this pick? So we have a defenseman, and Nashville's known for drafting incredible defensemen.
Thing about Tanner Molendyk, he's a guy who started to enter the first-round conversation as the year wore on, but you wouldn't have thought so at the start of the year. He started without a goal in 23 games. It started to wear on him, and I think they sat him down and said, listen, here's what you need to be. Don't worry about it. Continue with the good process. This is a character guy. He comes from McBride, BC, a tiny little town. He's got that McBride pride going on. And there's a little story about Saskatoon where he goes to school, City Park High School. The principal has a complaint. Hey, there's a lot of garbage here near the residential area. Like, what's going on? They start to complain about it. This guy says, well, what's the problem? I'll just go over there with a garbage bag and I'll clean everything up. So he's got that type of character to him. He's got some small town. You look at his face. This guy's a warrior. 7 or 8 times he's been hit in the face. He's blocking shots, high-sticking guys, giving high sticks. He's that type of player. What sticks out most about his game, he's an excellent skater, an elite skater who's going to be able to retrieve pucks, move them quickly, make a good first pass. I don't think he's the type of guy you have to lean on to create offense.
He does a lot of little things with his feet. So he's not just a transitional D. He's like a two-way transitional D. He can lead the rush. He can distribute. He can come as an extra layer. He can walk the offensive blue line with the man advantage. I think he's a distributor overall more than a shooter for sure. Spatially defending, he's active. He's not shy to body up. Like, he'll body up and take the man down low in his zone.
And this was the 24th pick, courtesy of the Matthias Ekholm trade. So they traded away a great defenseman to Edmonton, and they're hoping they're drafting a great defenseman out of 24 here from the WHL. And by the way, it's worth noting it was Barry Trotz making the pick, and he's the new GM here in Nashville. The crowd here, the vibe picked up as soon as they were on the board. And I think they're going to love this guy by all accounts.
Yeah, the Saskatoon Blades really running a good program down there. Colin Priestner's a guy who took over some years ago, and I don't think many people thought that he'd be able to do the job, but he's done fantastic work here, really developing players. And Molendyk was a guy who was looked upon to go to the University of North Dakota. Priestner met with him on several different occasions and thought, you know what, maybe this is a guy that we can coerce to come to Saskatoon, and it's worked out perfectly well. Look at the skating ability. In the zone, out of the zone, around you go, finally finding an opportunity to put it into the back of the net. That great skating ability with a little touch of offense, but knowing that he can play with some bite in his game, a lot of elements that I like.
100%. That was actually that clip right there is very impressive. Like, when he went 10-2 on the zone exit, if anybody wants to rewind the tape of this draft, you're going to look at him. His shoulders are still fronting the play. Like, he's looking up ice, although he's moving sideways. It was a really cool sequence.
All right, the new GM of the Nashville Predators, Barry Trotz, alongside our Elliot Friedman.
First draft as a general manager. Has it gone how you expected?
It has. There's a lot of unpredictability, which we saw, obviously, in the first round. Yeah, absolutely. It's been wonderful. Our fans have been outstanding. It's really interesting because, the board, some teams are all over the board, which we knew it would be. It's such a deep draft, and it's going to be preference. So we got our preference, and so we're really happy.
There were a lot of hot rumors today about the Predators. How hard did you try to move up?
Well, I've been trying probably last 2-3 weeks, but I really think the comfort level with especially the front end of the draft, they were very, very secure in that. And then there was such a good group of players in the next batch that we knew we were going to get 1 or 2 of them. So we feel we have.
Thanks very much, Barry. Enjoy.
Thank you.
And there's Barry Trotz. Chuck, can you speak to that? How frustrating is it? Because there was that idea and knowledge there that this was a good deep draft. No one wants to be the guy who traded away a pick who eventually becomes, an all-star Hall of Famer, et cetera.
Yeah, well, again, you don't see teams trading back all that often, or unless you're maybe trading for a player like Ottawa did last year in DeBrincat, but you don't often see teams trading back, and especially in a great draft like this. I guarantee you every scout is telling their GM, there's a great player here, let's stay and get this player. And that's what we've seen happen. Again, we haven't seen anybody move up or move down, never mind trade for a player.
A little bit inactive, a little surprising.
Yeah, but maybe it speaks to the
podium for a second time.
Yeah, plenty of good players available. There's still some defensemen that I think need to come off the board. Obviously, forwards, the center position. Again, the depth of this draft really coming to the fore today. That's why we haven't seen the type of movement we expected.
All right, well, St. Louis has the 25th pick. This is courtesy of the Toronto Maple Leafs. This was part of the Ryan O'Reilly trade at the trade deadline. St. Louis also has the 29th pick, courtesy of the Tarasenko trade. So you'll be seeing a lot of the Blues. They already have picked 10th overall with Dali
St. Louis
Dvorsky.
Blues
Let's
are pleased to select Otto Stenberg, Frölunda, Sweden.
All right, at 10, they took Dali Dvorsky, a forward, and here at 25, they take another forward. This time, it's Otto Stenberg from Sweden.
Yes, I got a lot of love for this guy. Great bookends to the season. When JB and I were out in Red Deer watching him at the Hlinka, we were impressed with his ability to play a solid two-way game. Now, there was times that were ebbs and flows throughout the season when going back to Sweden, but again, back at the end of the year, absolutely brilliant at the under-18. 16 points there, left everyone with a real good taste in their mouth afterwards. I think you're looking at a two-way guy who might provide a little bit more offense down the road than maybe would be expected than what we saw at the start of the year.
Captain of the U18 team in Sweden. This guy's a bulldog as well. Ryan Leonard, he gets after it in all three zones, and he's aggressive with the puck. He rips pucks from all over the offensive zone, and he's first on the puck more often than not. This is an outstanding pick. I'm taking a look at what the Blues are doing here with Dvorsky in the middle, now Stenberg in the middle. You can see the trajectory of the franchise with these two players going forward.
You guys seem pretty excited about this pick, and this is a 25th overall pick. That's fantastic.
One of my favorite guys in this draft class as well. This kid's an excellent player.
Three-time captain internationally. I think that speaks volumes. It's funny because watching him in November, I thought, wow, this guy's around the puck, creating a lot of shots. Had a little bit more difficulty in that Five Nations tournament finding the back of the net. But then you go to the end of the year, and they were going in droves, 16 points in that under-18s. Of course, they lose 3-2 in overtime. It was Ryan Leonard, who was selected 8th overall by Washington, who ended their dreams of winning that under-18 championship, but still a very good tournament for the Swedes overall. That left a lot of people feeling really good about a lot of the Swedish players, when at the start of the year, I don't know if we projected this many Swedes to go in round one.
What I like about this real quick, DA, is that on your worst day, when the puck's not going in the net for you, he does all the other stuff. Like his compete doesn't fall off. There's no sulk. There's no slouch. He's going to block a shot. He's going to eat a puck on the penalty kill. He's going to do all those other things when he's not scoring.
Which you need, right? Because the puck's not always going to be going in for you. And, give us a little bit more of a scouting report here on what we can expect, because he's not going to be probably on the Blues next year, but certainly in a couple of years, we could expect to see him in the blue and white.
That little hand. He's going to be challenged. He creates space with his reach, goes across the seam. That little play when he had the puck way out made him hard to defend there. That was a really little slick play. Backdoor, one-timer. Listen, he's got an elite release. I can't understate it. I keep saying it. That's just what he does.
And he has 2 Michigans this year as well, which we're not showing there. Let's get you down to the floor with Jeff Merrick.
You know what? There may not be a better team, DA, in the NHL at doing rebuilds on the fly than the St. Louis Blues. And you look at what happened last year. Didn't make the playoffs. Ryan O'Reilly got traded to Toronto. Vladimir Tarasenko goes to the New York Rangers. Ivan Barbashev goes to the Vegas Golden Knights. In return, they get a player by the name of Zach Dean from Gatineau. Had a wonderful year in the QMJHL. But if you look at all the forwards, and we've just seen 2 more forwards now drafted by the St. Louis Blues and Stenberg and Dvorsky. You have Jimmy Snuggerud from the University of Michigan. You have Jake Neighbors, who's about this close to making the NHL as well. You have Joel Holford, the netminder, who this year will be the backup in the St. Louis Blues organization. Doug Armstrong, really smartly, really quietly, has repopulated the pipeline for the St. Louis Blues, and today's another couple of chapters in this rebuilding book for the Blues.
Yeah, in fact, they're going to have a 3rd first-round pick coming up. And the last time they had 3 first-round picks was 2007. Lars Eller, Ian Cole, and David Perron. So some pretty good NHL careers still percolating. with those three players. So St. Louis, again, they'll be back on the board soon. But next up, it is the San Jose Sharks, who have, you have to recall, about 2.5 hours ago, took Will Smith, 4th overall, Mike Greer, and getting a little info from his son to help make that pick, maybe. Here we are, San Jose at 26, and this is courtesy of the Timo Meier trade with New Jersey that they picked up this draft selection. By the way, it's worth noting, Timo Meier, an 8-year deal, so it's working out maybe for both clubs here. Here's the futures for San Jose. Thoughts on this pick, and are there some big names, anyone you would describe as a big name who is yet to be taken?
Well, the Sharks are in a situation where Mike Greer has had full control of the draft from the start of the year on. You remember he came in at the end of the year last year, so while his fingerprints would have been on some of it, definitely has full control of it this year.
All right, let's get back down to Carolyn.
With Otto, the newest member of the St. Louis Blues, you got to play with Joel Lundqvist in his final season back home in Sweden, and he has a special message for you.
Okay. Hi Otto, this is Joel Lundqvist. Big congrats to the draft here today. It was really fun playing together in Frölunda. Now I'm really looking forward to follow your career moving on here. Best of luck. Keep going the way you do.
What influence has he had on your career?
Thank you so much, first of all. I mean, has always been a really big player in Frölunda, and I've looked up to him my whole life. I think he was the first player I learned the name of in Frölunda in the A-team. So, I mean, it's been really fun to play with him the last season, and yeah, to just see how we are as a person. And
with the 26th pick, the Sharks are proud to select from the Sudbury Wolves, Quentin Musty.
This name may be very familiar to a lot of people, certainly out in Ontario. Played for the Sudbury Wolves, selected 1st overall in the 2021 OHL draft. And here he is, the dream coming to fruition, selected 26th overall, Quentin Musty. Grew up a Red Wings fan, but he's going to turn it to a Shark fan pretty quickly. What are they getting in Quentin Musty?
Yeah, the 1st overall pick. You're getting the potential to hit a home run with this pick. The one thing that sticks out about him, analytics people will really like the fact, 50 even strength primary points. So a guy who wasn't just collecting points in the power play, but a big factor in what a lot of what Sudbury's offense had to accomplish this year. Derek McKenzie came in November as the head coach, replaced Craig Duncanson. From that point on, he went 64 points in 44 games. McKenzie challenged him to be more physical, to increase better awareness in his play away from the puck, and to pay attention more defensively. As a result of that process, he ends up with those 64 points in 44 games. But the even strength primary points, something analytics people look at, he was one of the best in this draft class with 50 of them.
Yeah, I mean, look at him, guys. He's a big body. He's got fantastic hands, fantastic hands. I'm with you, Sammy. Like, the back half of the season, I really appreciate the detail. His effort on and off the puck went to a different level, but his detail, like how to position yourself properly, how to track back and be more active in the defensive zone, use your size to get in the lanes, all these little tangibles, Derek McKenzie got in his head and did a great job. And Mac is now assistant coach here with Bruno in Nashville starting next year under Trotzy.
And his walk-up song was Flashing Lights, and he's hoping to light the red light quite a bit out in San Jose. He's not even 18 yet. I mean, he's a big physical specimen, 6'2", over 200 pounds, and he turns 18 in 8 days. So, and Mike Greer is not a shrinking violet. Look what this is bizarre to me. Is Mike Greer getting smaller, or what's happening here?
Musty's he's a big boy. There's no doubt.
So there it is, San Jose with 2 first-round picks. They've missed the playoffs the last 4 years, so they're trying to turn things around in Northern California. Meanwhile, we've had 4 Canadian teams already make their selections, and next up will be the Toronto Maple Leafs with selection number 28. Much more coming your way from Music City as the NHL entry draft rolls on. There's Brad Treliving, the new GM in Toronto.
A ring ding 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 a ding. Police ring a ding ding. What pow Uber One?
You foxes talking about me?
No, it's just Uber One stuff.
Ring a ding.
Ring a ding ding, Khalees.
I think this is it, guys.
When the Martins booked their Verbo vacation home,
I got you, Dad.
they really weren't looking for much. A patch of grass for Bruno, a pool for first-timers,
Don't worry, I've got you.
and time with each other. And when they needed support, someone was right there.
I got you.
Because what's unique about a Verbo is you can reach a real person in about a minute.
Is there anyone not chasing us?
Gotta get rid of this car.
You ready?
Ethan, the world is coming after you. Your days of fighting for the so-called greater good are over.
Hey, Benji! Go to plan B. Okay, great. Plan B. What is that?
Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning, July 12th.
McWrap the flavor with new zesty lime, sweet chili, and chicken and bacon. Enjoy big flavor in every bite with grilled or crispy seasoned chicken. The McWrap, only at McDonald's.
There's no second chance in horse racing. It all comes down to those 2 minutes.
They're off!
McDonald's done it again.
These are professional athletes driving professional athletes.
Experience it live at the track. Visit OntarioRacing.com.
Well, in a few days, it's Happy Canada Day. NHL offseason kicks off July 1st. Sportsnet hockey insiders are going to break down all the latest on Hockey Central signing season. Saturday, 11:30 Eastern, 8:30 Pacific on Sportsnet and Sportsnet Now. We are 26 picks into the books. We can tell you Colorado Avalanche have 2 of the final 5 or 6 picks here. At 27, they're going to be selecting. And Sam, you say there's still some talent to be had.
Yeah, no question. Cal Ritchie leading that list from the Oshawa Generals, played hurt all year. David Edstrom, a guy who had a great end of the year, missed a couple of months due to injury this year. Goliath, a defenseman, really good puck mover. Same with Dragicevic, who's an offensive defenseman. Gavin Brindley, I know he's JB's one of your favorites. Halton's a shooter, and Height, a point producer. So we'll see what happens here moving forward with the Colorado Avalanche, who are getting into the game a little late here in terms of their first-round picks.
And they're entering the stage, and again, they don't have a 3rd or a 4th-round pick. They do have 2 first-round picks, so that's good news for them as they'll be picking 31st overall. They got that from Montreal recently with the Alex Newhook going to the Montreal Canadiens. So let's see what's brewing here. It's going to be a changing of the guard a little bit in Colorado, guys. 8 UFAs, 3 RFAs, so you're going to look very different than that championship team from a year ago. Let's hear what they have to do. Again, their first pick here with Chris McFarland, Joe Sakic, and the gang.
The Colorado Avalanche are proud to select from Oshawa, Callum Ritchie.
And there it is. This is a nice story. This is a tough kid. He played with a torn labrum basically the entire year. And out of the Oshawa Generals, Callum Ritchie now has an NHL home with the Colorado Avalanche, the 2nd overall pick in the OHL draft a couple of years ago. So a little bit of a run on those OHLers that went pretty high a couple of years ago. What are they getting in Ritchie?
Big power forward. This is the type of guy that when you go to the rink, he's not going to take you out of your seat. Like, he's not going to wow you necessarily. But then when you go home and you look at the box score, you're going to look down. Geez, the kid had three points tonight, a goal and 2 apples, whatever it was, right? It's unbelievable. He produces points. He was over a point a game, played injured the whole year. Some of his best hockey guys came at the Worlds at the end of the year when he was really hurting, right?
Yeah.
So it tells me a lot about his character, about his drive, about his push through. And, hey, he just produces offense, and he's big. He's real big.
Nice to see him without the sling on, which is where we saw him in Buffalo at the Combine. That's come off here. I know his buddy Nick Lardis, who expects to go here in the first round, if not early on day number 2. They're teasing him with some golf games he's unable to play in. The other thing that strikes me about this guy is, again, these guys are underdeveloped. While he has good height and still playing at a decent weight, he's got a lot of room to put strength onto that frame. What's he going to look like moving forward here? What weight is he going to play at? How much taller is he going to get? There's a lot of projections still left in this player. He was first on my list of still available, and here we go. We come out of the commercial break, and Colorado takes it.
And his brother Ethan is a D-man with the Kingston Frontenac. So, again, we see a lot of that. Siblings playing, siblings both getting drafted in many cases as well. So hockey runs deep in many families. And mom's a teacher. She's got to like this. He's learned his game both in the classroom and on the ice.
You know, I think at the start of the year, you could have safely projected that this guy was going to be a top 10 pick, going back to his 16-year-old year. Then you watched him at the Hlinka Gretzky again put up points, but you didn't really notice it until you looked at the box score at the end. The ability to transport the puck and go up top, work through traffic just a little bit. Now this Ritchie working on the strong side, little curl and drag. Everybody's doing it these days, goes to the short side. Again, here working on the power play. I'll just take it to the dot and let it rip top shelf. Good screen helping him out there, but still have to find that accuracy. And a little Steven Stamkos as inspiration never hurts.
That's the part I really like, that they look up to these future great players, and they're loving every moment of it, and now they themselves find themselves as NHLers. Let's send you back down to Carolyn.
Grew up idolizing Steven Stamkos. Now you can say that you're going to be teammates with Nathan McKinnon. How does that sound?
Yeah, it's unreal. He's obviously a player that I try to model myself after, and I mean, he does everything so well. So, I mean, whatever I can take and try to learn from him, I'd love to do that.
How gratifying is this moment, considering how much you had to battle this season?
Yeah, it's unbelievable. And, yeah, just, I mean, going through the season, you try to enjoy every second of it. You only go through your draft year once. And I thought I grew my game a lot over the season, and I'm glad I'm here. And to be drafted to Colorado, it's unbelievable. It's a dream come true.
Well, congratulations. It looks good on you.
Thank you.
Kyle?
Well, Carolyn, this is not the first time Callum Ritchie has been at the center of attention.
And now back to Ron McLean in Hockey Day in Canada.
There he was 5 years ago with the throw back to Ron McLean on a Saturday night as a member of the Oakville AAA Pee Wee Rangers. His coach at the time felt he was going to be a star then, so he gave him the final word. Clearly, he was onto something. The Avalanche would agree. And now we go back to David Amber and the 2023 NHL Draft.
All right, and we go back to Brad Trey Living, ready to make his first selection as the GM of the Toronto Maple Leafs. So, you know, he's into a pressure. He left a pressure cooker in Calgary and into another pressure cooker with the Toronto Maple Leafs. Any expectations as the Leafs are about to take to the podium?
Well, it's nice to see him on the floor, because from everything that I understood in his press conference yesterday, said he couldn't walk down on the floor until after Calgary picked at 16. So he's able to hunker down there at pick 17 and get into a seat and get comfortable. Now the opportunity to get something done here for the Toronto Maple Leafs. I thought this might be a trade back scenario. Obviously, that's not going to be the case here. They have someone in mind, someone they've identified. Let's see who it is.
All right, again, this was part of the Washington trade for Rasmus Sandin. So the Leafs are about to take to the clock. They don't have a second, a third, or a fourth-round pick. So how much pressure, Chuck, does that put on a team when it's like all our eggs are in one draft basket here?
Yeah, definitely puts pressure. But on the other hand, you know, you don't have a lot of picks. At least you have your first, and you're hoping you can draft a really quality guy to put in the system. And you know, they've traded some picks in the last couple of years. So this is a big pick for them.
Yeah, so here we go. The Toronto Maple Leafs on the board. Brad Trey Living and the rest of the management group. Maple Leaf Sorting Entertainment ready to make the Leafs selection at number 28. Let's take a look and a listen.
Just wanted to thank the city of Nashville for some great hospitality. Thank Billy Garrett for the open bar bill at Tootsie's all week. And we'd like to congratulate and thank David Poyle. He's been a mentor to many of us, and congratulations on a great career. To make our selection, I'll call up our head scout, Wes Clark.
Toronto selects from the London Knights, Easton Cowan.
Easton Cowan is the latest member of the Toronto Maple Leafs. Another London Knight goes in the draft.
Well, look where he's sitting, guys. That tells you everything you need to know. You'd have to search around to find this guy because it's unexpected that he goes here. But a deep dive will tell you that this guy is a gritty, tenacious player. His playoffs, I think, really sealed the deal for him. 21 points in 20 games. I had a chance to stop him at the combine right at the very end in the hallway, and this guy was locked into doing his work there, so he gave me a couple of good answers. But again, we talked about Oliver Bonk, London Knights, playing in Junior B. Easton Cowan followed that same path, but while he was playing Junior B, practicing with the London Knights, and that playoff year with that grit, that tenacity, when it's most difficult to produce points, he did so at over a point per game pace in the playoffs. A guy I know, JB, you're familiar with.
Yeah, no, absolutely. This guy was an absolute riser in the second half. There's a little bit of a coincidence here, isn't it? Like Mark Hunter's London Knights and the Toronto Maple Leafs. But what you look for out of this guy, trust. You trust his process. You trust his game. He goes to all the hard areas. He plays fast. He scores from the middle of the ice. Dale Hunter just absolutely elevated his minutes down the stretch. And anybody who's familiar with the way the London Knights process works, they better be like really trusting you as a player at the hardest time of year. He earned it. This is a little bit outside the box, but good on the Leafs if this is the guy that was their best available on their list.
Mount Bridges, Ontario. If you need more information, he's a center, about 5'10", 170. Obviously, so with some room to grow. He's an 18-year-old. And you saw by the position they put him in the stands, as you said, he had the longest walk of any prospect here. He's probably a little bit out of breath right now. But there's the Leafs management welcoming in the newest Maple Leaf, Easton Allen.
It was ironic. I spoke to Mark Hunter this morning, and I just wanted to check in. Denver Barkey's another guy we'll probably see go tomorrow. I wanted to check in on Bonk. I felt pretty comfortable with where I thought he might be going. But I said, tell me a little bit more about Easton Cowan and what he's all about. And I think to Luke Evangelista, when he first started playing for the London Knights, he was a trustworthy guy. Defense, penalty kill. And as he started to do those things, his minutes went up and it was given more high-leverage situations. The exact same thing for this guy. I mean, he is a real greasy player. I love that about him.
And these aren't throwaway picks, right? We've seen some pretty notable 28th overall picks. Corey Perry, Justin Williams, Mike Richter. Chuck, is that the difference between a Stanley Cup caliber team and other teams, is the fact that you can get those diamonds in the rough, maybe where unexpected?
Oh, absolutely. You look at the Washington Capitals, how many years have they been picking in the 20s and drafting pretty good players late in the draft, and it makes a big difference. And again, if you're going to be a good hockey team, assuming you keep your first-round pick, you're picking between 20 and 30 every year. If you want to stay competitive, you got to hit on those picks.
And Jason, was the eye test a big part of this? Someone in Ontario, in the OHL, just a couple-hour drive from Toronto, the fact that they may have seen him firsthand a little bit more than they saw some other prospects.
Well, Wes is right there in Toronto, but Dave Morrison is living right there in the area as well. He's living up Grand Bend area, and don't discount the impact Mo had on this pick. He's been a Toronto Maple Leaf head scout, director of player personnel for as long as I've been in the game, and they would have really tracked him religiously. I wouldn't be surprised if they were at practices, including games.
Let's hear from the newest Maple Leaf, who's standing by with Carolyn Cameron.
Easton, they had you sitting on the wrong side of the arena. Did hearing your name called come as a surprise?
Yeah, obviously, you dream of this moment, so it's pretty special, and especially to the Leafs there. So, yeah, it's really exciting, and it's a moment I'll never forget.
In terms of how talks went with Toronto, was it something you were expecting?
Yeah, obviously, I felt like my talks at the Combine with them went really good, and, I thought they liked me. So, like I said, a moment I'll never forget.
Mount Bridges, Ontario, just outside of London. What does it mean to wear that sweater?
Yeah, it means a lot, and I'm playing for my hometown there in London as well. So it means a lot. I'm really, very thankful to have my family here with me today and a bunch of friends. So, yeah, I just want to thank everyone, that supports me, and obviously I'm excited to be a Leaf.
And we hear the panel with the scouting report on you, but what type of player are the Leafs getting?
Yeah, I think I'm a very, hardworking 200-foot player, and I love to win, and I think I, lead well on and off the ice. So I'm very excited to get down there in Toronto and, I guess show them what I'm about.
Well, congratulations and enjoy.
Thank you.
David?
I think it's fair to say he's maybe as shocked as you guys were, because he was like, yeah, well, they picked me. This is pretty cool. So you like those moments. Those are genuine, sincere moments. And a kid living out his dream maybe didn't think he was maybe even going to get selected in the first round. Here he is in his hometown team.
He was drafted during the pandemic year, and in order to see him, some private skates and maybe some illegal skates, if you will, but that's where it all started. Ends up going in the second round. A bit of a surprise for the OHL priority selection for him to go in the second round, maybe as high as he did, but a guy who looks like he's proving to be worthy of that selection. We've got a run of 3 straight OHL players now, 4 all told. And remember, the OHL didn't play 2 years ago, so a lot of these guys missed out on that opportunity.
You're trying to sewer the kid. He's not even in the NHL. Yeah, you're the illegal skate. All right, so there he is. It's Easton Cowan, 28th overall to the Toronto Maple Leafs. And the St. Louis Blues, once again, this is a theme tonight. They're back on the clock. Again, their 3rd pick. This was courtesy of the Tarasenko trade. Any overall thoughts before we get to St. Louis, if you want to put a bow on what we just witnessed?
Well, before St. Louis gets up here, I'm actually surprised they're making 3 selections in the first round. I thought this might have been the team, Chuck, that would take their 2 late firsts and try and move up, but obviously they love the list.
Well, there's still a lot of talent there. It's considered a deep draft, so here we go. Let's get you back down on the stage for the 3rd time tonight, the St. Louis Blues.
St. Louis Blues are pleased to select Theo Lidstein, Brynäs, Sweden.
Well, we witnessed a run of OHL players, and now we've had quite a number of Swedish players, including some great defensemen chosen tonight, including Theo Lidstein, the latest member of the St. Louis Blues. A left-handed shot. The one word in my notes here, after reading a bunch on him and watching a little bit, is solid. I guess that's the description. Is that the word you guys use, solid?
Absolute glue guy. I mean, he is arguably, for me, he might be the best overall defender in the entire draft. I know Ryan Bacher's a very good defender, but this guy plays to that consistent identity. When I was in Nashville and then he got traded to Vancouver later on in his career, this guy reminds me, Chuck, of like a Dan Hamhuis style of a player. Just that like glue guy. He's going to be like that second layer, but you know every time you roll him over the boards what he's going to provide. He can be used in all situations, understated offense, but you don't need the offense out of this guy.
7th defenseman taken in this draft. He had a knee injury as well that he had to play through during the season. And again, we've noticed with a few players where they just had to sort of show their extra grit, resilience, and determination. And here's a young man, and now his name's been called.
Missed 5 weeks, and as a result of that, there were some inconsistencies in his game previous to the injury and even coming back from it. But when we go back to the Hlinka-Gretzky, you saw a guy that really made you jump out of your seat because of that great skating ability, and then kind of fell asleep there for a little while. The injury comes back again at the end of the year, and a guy that you're looking at who looks to be one of those top 4 defensemen for St. Louis here down the road. So they go down the center position with their first 2 picks, and then they address the next important or maybe equally as important position on defense with this pick in Lindstein.
Yeah, Dvorsky and Stenberg, the first 2 picks. And, of course, Stenberg is Swede as well. So a little bit of a theme here as they go back to Sweden, across the Atlantic, and find their man on the blue line as well for the St. Louis Blues. And you guys were really, effusive praise for this Blues team. I think the way Jeff Merrick described it is rebuilding on the fly, where you don't have to tear it down to the studs. You just find a way. You lose Tarasenko, you lose O'Reilly, you lose some other good players, but here you are adding.
Yeah, I think that's what Doug Armstrong is looking to do. He's trying to infuse a lot of young players into his system, but he certainly has the desire to, keep being competitive and to bounce back. So it's, he's done a great job here adding these 3 quality prospects.
Absolutely, and we see the emotion from the parents here. It's not just the player that gets drafted, guys. It's the whole family can celebrate these special moments. More coming your way.
Sometimes all it takes to have a pool day feel a little more like a pool party is a summer drink from McDonald's. Like a refreshing new small fruit splash beverage for just $2 plus tax. Step up your summer today.
How did we take our products to new markets, expand our facilities, and gain confidence to grow? Simple. We saw the future, and Export Development Canada helped us map the way.
Discover the export impact today.
The Jeep No Limits event is here, which means more trails to blaze, more challenges to meet, more sights to discover. Get into a Jeep Wrangler, the most capable Wrangler ever. Or Jeep Grand Cherokee, the most awarded SUV ever. Jeep No Limits is here. Time to test your limits. Get up to 10% off MSRP with up to $8,900 in discounts on Jeep Grand Cherokee.
Avatar: The Way of Water is now streaming on Disney+. Relive the adventure of a lifetime and experience the Academy Award-winning phenomenon again and again.
I see you.
Avatar: The Way of Water, now streaming on Disney+.
Get more from your neighborhood. Delivered with DoorDash.
Why don't we do this more often?
That's why.
Imagine date night in your backyard with proprietary decking and railing products from Decorators.
You pulled a bit of a surprise here, Brad. What did you like in Easton Cal?
Well, our staff was, they liked him a lot. When I got into Toronto and spent some time with them, they really liked this player. Number one, they liked how competitive he was. He's been, a guy who's really developed more in the second half of the year. He had a really good playoff. you know, he's taken a big step in the last year. So, you know, big motor, real competitive kid. We think there's some upside there.
All right, I've been asking the same question to all the Canadian general managers. Anything else cooking right there?
Nothing cooking right now, and if there was, I wouldn't share with you anyhow, Elliot, but we'll keep working away at it.
Thanks very much, Brad.
Yeah, you bet. Thanks.
I love the honesty there from Brad Treliving. Leave me alone, Elliot. I know you're going to be bugging me all the time. So there it is. His first pick as the GM of the Toronto Maple Leafs, Easton Cowan at 28. We now have Don Waddell, the GM of the Carolina Hurricanes, ready to make their selection, their first pick at 30th overall. We'll send it back down to the stage, and we'll hear what the Carolina Hurricanes have to offer here after a franchise record season in wins and points.
I'd like to congratulate the Vegas Golden Knights on winning the Stanley Cup. Thank you, the city of Nashville, for all your hospitality. And then to my good friend, David Poyle, you've been a tremendous friend, mentor for all of us here in the league. Enjoy the next chapter of your life. To make our pick, Darren York, our assistant general manager.
Carolina is proud to select Bradley Nadeau.
Bradley Nadeau from the BCHL, and boy, did he rip it up in the BCHL. Most points in the BCHL as an under-18 player since Kyle Turris. He was the playoff MVP. He's actually committed to Maine in the NCAA. And what was cool is he played on a line in the BCHL with his older brother, Josh, who we just gave a big embrace to. So Bradley Nadeau from Penticton. We've had a bit of a theme here as far as Western Canadians, specifically out in British Columbia, making their way here in the first round. It started with Connor Bedard, and here we are at pick 30 with Bradley Nadeau.
Well, it's kind of fascinating because this guy's from New Brunswick, so he goes all the way out to Penticton to play in the BCHL, lights it up there, and I thought it would have been a good opportunity for this young man to go play for Canada at the under-18s. I think that potential existed for him, but he decided, you know what, although I was asked, I'm going to stay back with my team in Penticton, and I'm going to stay with the group that I've been with all year. I thought those additional looks at the under-18 might cement whether he's a first-rounder or not. It didn't seem to matter. The Carolina Hurricanes, obviously a very analytically based team, go with a guy who, like Matthew Wood 2 years ago, won the scoring title in the BCHL. This guy was lighting it up. He'll end up going to Maine with his brother next year. It'll be fascinating to track him because he definitely is one of those players on the smaller, slimmer, more frail side.
Yeah, there's no doubt. And he's got that frame, guys, that you don't really look. There's another name not on the back of the jersey, Chuck. We're kind of noticing that a lot today, right? But he's really slight. Here's the thing with this guy. Quick to space. I know I keep, it's like a lot of the same adjectives coming. Quick catch and release. He plays his off wing, okay? So he fronts the play a lot. He's not a guy that has plays coming to defend from the sides. He fronts it very well. Everything's out front of him, and he goes to work.
Well, there he is, Don Waddell, and all smiles. It's really the fun part of this is just these kids out here now NHLers. And give us a little bit more of a scouting report, Bradley Nadeau, because what he put up in the BCHL was just ridiculous. The numbers, insane.
Yeah, that one-timer back door, that's from range. Like, that's way out above the circle on the one side. Again, here we go, give and go. They had a wagon of a team, real good power play. A little bit of playmaking, a little bit of shooting. Here he's going to pick up a puck in the neutral zone and dart. Now, I'm going to say this. His first 3 steps, guys, that kind of showed it a little bit. He's going to have to get stronger and more explosive at his stature.
And Alex Newhook, of course, translated a 100-point season in the BCHL into a first-round draft selection from Colorado. So he joined some pretty elite company there, including Kent Johnson. Let's hear from Bradley, who's standing by with our Carolyn Cameron.
It's a journey for anyone who's drafted into the NHL, but Bradley, for you, it was maybe the biggest journey of all across Canada, from New Brunswick to Penticton. Who helped get you here today?
There's a lot of people that helped me, my parents, all the sacrifice they've made, and, my agent, my billet family along the way. A lot of people helped me, and I'm really grateful for what they did for me to be here today.
And what about your brother, Josh, who you're going to play with next year at Maine?
Yeah, he's a really good player. Hopefully his name could get called here in the draft, but, I'm really excited to play with him for the next few years in Maine.
Is it better if you're teammates as opposed to competitors?
Yeah, there's a lot of competition between me and him, so when we're teammates, we can't really compete against each other as much.
Well, congratulations and all the best. Enjoy tonight.
Thank you.
Elliot?
Doug, a big night in the remaking of the St. Louis Blues. What did you see in these 3 players?
Well, it is a big night for us. We scouted very hard. Obviously, when we knew we weren't going to have our season wasn't going to go the way we wanted, we were able to acquire some draft equity, getting a centerman, getting a defenseman, and a captain of the Swedish national junior team. All our background work came out really strong in their high character and their skill level. So it's the first step in adding players, and then bringing in Hayes in the other day. So we're serving a little bit of today's team with an eye on tomorrow's team.
Did you think you'd make all 3 picks? Did you think that would happen tonight?
When I went to bed last night, I thought we would. We weren't really close on any deals for these picks for players. Got a couple of calls today, but nothing that perked our interest. So I felt very strong when we added Hayes that we were in a good spot to make these selections.
Thank you, Doug.
Thank you.
All right, thanks, Elliot. And Doug Armstrong busy, the only team with 3 picks here in this first round. And Chuck, we talked about it earlier. We thought there'd be a bit of movement. Last year, if you watched the draft last year, I hope you did, 7 different trades were made on draft day, some big name players changing, but also 20 draft picks. So it was a bit of shuffling through the draft. Why do you think there's been less shuffling this year through the draft?
I think it just must go to how much, the scouts and the teams like their list. And teams want to hold on. They're good prospects this year. But still, it's a little bit strange, and you would think a team like Carolina, for example, historically trade back a lot. St. Louis with 3 picks, you would assume they would have traded 1. But again, they're drafting players they really like, and that's a good sign for their franchise going forward.
Yeah. Colorado, the 8th and final team to have multiple selections in the first round. Let's take a look and a listen.
With the 31st pick, the Colorado Avalanche are very proud to select from Omsk, Mikhail Gulyayev.
And the hugs continue here at Bridgestone Arena. Mikhail Gulyayev is going 31st overall to the Colorado Avalanche. And again, this was part of that Montreal deal a couple of days ago consummated for Alex Newhook. So they get a second first-round pick after selecting 27th as well. What can you tell us about Gulyayev?
Well, there's no question that the Colorado Avalanche value mobile defensemen. Look at what they have in their lineup. You're talking about a Samuel Girard, a Bowen Byram, and a Cale Makar. This is the next line in terms of mobile defensemen. This guy here played in 3 different leagues, as is customary for players in Russia, in the VHL, the MHL, and some KHL games as well. His MHL numbers, which is where he spent most of the season, 1.14 points per game. That's the most in league history for a draft-eligible defenseman. So there is that to consider. But a guy who handles the puck like a forward, who skates really, really well, and so those 2 things combined allow him to provide offense from the back end, yet still with good feet to defend. So he'll be a fascinating type of guy. But when you talk about the ability of being mentored by those similar type defensemen, there's no better place than to do it with Colorado.
His upside guys, second pairing at even strength. You could roll him out, though, on your first power play unit. Okay, he's a distributor more than a shooter, sees the ice really well, walks the offensive blue line, great feet. One thing I'm going to say, 5'11", 172, he's a dog on a bone in the defensive zone. I'm not talking physically, but boy, does he compete. Like, he never goes away. He's always in the back pocket of a forward. He's always there trying to win puck battles. I really like that about his game.
And the GMs love the tenacity of those undersized players. If you're going to be undersized, you better have a bit of that in your game, and we see that from Gulyayev.
Now we're going to see it. It's tough to get some real good action videos out of Russia, but here he is. Like, he's fronting the play. He's blocking pucks. Here he is. Like, this is a really neat play. 2-on-1. Okay. Goalie out. I don't know how the guy didn't score the goal, but anyways, he was there, right? He was in the way. Here it is. Walking the blue line. Let's see it. Let's see it. He opens up the lane, backdoor space. They get a power play goal out of it. He directed traffic there, took 2 defenders to the one side of the ice, opened up the backdoor lane. His teammate steps in and zips it home. It's subtle, but it's a big deal.
The 4th Russian selected so far in this draft. We've got 13 Canadians, clips the number of 9 Canadians taken in the first round a year. It's funny, when you think of the Russian talented players in the league, you don't think of defensemen generally. You generally think of the offensive-minded, the Krizovs, the OVs, the Malkins. But are they starting to establish a bit of a reputation as a country you can rely on to get defensemen?
Well, there's certainly a country you can rely on for skill, and they do a great job of developing skill in that country and coming through. It's if the situation was a little bit different in terms of geopolitical issues, we'd probably even find more players over there because we'd be able to get over there and scout a little bit more. They'd be able to participate in the best on best, but it is what it is. So But again, pretty talented players, and you're seeing a few of them go in the first round.
Believe it or not, we've ripped through 31 selections so far. There's only one pick to go. We have yet to have a trade. We've definitely had a few surprises, but it's the Vegas Golden Knights and Kelly McCrimmon, the defending champs, and George McPhee, the architect behind that championship team, ready to take to the podium. So, if nothing else, it's been an efficient draft. You've had like three GMs. Three GMs have said, thanks to Tootsies. Maybe they're trying to get the Tootsies. I don't know what's going on
That's
here, guys.
the answer right there. We had a couple of good nights to tune it up, and let's get out of here early and try and tune it up again tonight.
They got 192 picks to make tomorrow. They better not get too into Tootsies tonight, gentlemen.
JB and I will be part of the broadcast tomorrow, so yeah, we got to take it easy too.
I thought you were going to say you're going to be part of the Tootsies tonight.
There's no chance for me. It's bowl of cereal in the bed after we're done here. I'll tell you right now.
Well, there they are, the Vegas Golden Knights, the defending champs. What a story season for them. Remarkably, I don't even know if this matters for them that much, guys. They had one drafted player on their championship team, and that was Nick. Well, one player they drafted, I should make that clear, on their championship team. They got players from every other way except the draft. Maybe they now are going to be forced into a position to do it this way, the traditional way.
But they use those draft picks to acquire players to help them now. So, they use the draft in a different way, but incredible meteoric rise to the top 6 years, and pretty impressive. They've done a great job.
Let's hear from the defending champs, the Vegas Golden Knights. Pick 32, the last pick of the first round, coming your way from Bridgestone Arena.
The Vegas Golden Knights would like to congratulate David Poile on a tremendous career as a general manager in the National Hockey League, and echo the comments of many of my previous colleagues, thanking him for his mentorship and leadership in the game. So all the best to you in the future, David. The Vegas Golden Knights are pleased with the 32nd selection in the first round of the entry draft to select from Frölunda, Sweden, David Edstrom.
So we wrap up the first round like we started the first round, with a center being chosen. This time, though, not a Canadian in Connor Bedard, but a Swede in David Edstrom. A sizable Swede, guys, 6'3", and he really impressed at the Hlinka Gretzky tournament, and maybe that's why he worked his way into the first round. Is that a fair assumption?
Great pick. Great pick. So at the under-18s here or end of April in Switzerland, he did all the little things for Team Sweden. Him and Otto Stenberg, they were the drivers there. So key defensive zone face-offs. You needed offense. You needed traffic around the net. He did that. You needed to extend a play below the goal line. You do that. Hard to play against, shift in and shift out, all of that. Like this, again, it's like a broken record, fellas, but through the draft, you can build character in your organization, kids that know how to win at the hardest time of year. This is a great pick by Vegas. Lucky them.
A team that values size, of course, goes with size down the middle of the ice. This is a guy who, like many of the players in this draft so far, was injured, missed 2 months in the season, but recognizes and has that self-awareness of exactly knowing what to work on to improve his game. Again, what we're seeing are the results of a really good under-18 tournament by the Swedes. That recency bias, I think, has had a significant impact in a number of picks here in this draft class, this being the last, the 32nd pick, the final pick of round one.
Obviously, we're going to have time to evaluate and put a bow on things, but is there any player that was not selected in the top 32 that's surprising you, gentlemen? You're kind of saying, as much as you've loved most of the picks that have been made, you guys have made a good case why the player was selected. Is there anyone out there that you're going, wow, I'm a bit surprised didn't go in the first 32?
I'm going to spit something out that's obscene. I feel like this isn't just a round one. It's a round 1.5 this draft.
Nice.
That's how many great players are still available on the board.
All right, well, that'll tee up the action for tomorrow nicely. It's going to be a busy night on Broadway as it
NHLShop.ca, the official online store of the NHL and Canada's largest selection of authentic NHL fan gear. Shop now and get today's special offer.
from your neighborhood. Delivered with DoorDash.
Ray Magliozzi here. eBay Motors has millions of parts. Hey, Dave.
Yep. Wait,
How are those new wipers?
they're small.
For parts that fit your vehicle, go to eBay Motors. Let's ride.
They'll be here in 5. We ready?
There's a...
Oh,
We'll just put books here.
that's bad. Left.
We should have used Bear.
Today, let's paint, spray, and stain with Behr, Canada's #1 trusted paint brand. Only at the Home Depot.
Was the fridge here before?
Yes.
No. And it goes a little something like this. Uber One can save you on rides and eats. Yeah, it's kinda sweet. You save on rides to the west side.
Cut. I like that, but I need a little bit more feeling.
Uber One can save you.
I love that.
La 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 la.
As catchy as fudge.
La 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 la.
Isn't it nice when your coffee comes with a cookie on the side? How did they know you'd like something more? What about streaming a podcast or watching an episode instead of downloading ahead? Nice to have, right? When something's nice to have, more people should have it. That's why you can get Rogers 5G mobile plans now as low as $55 a month and count on more value to come because we're with you all the way.
Explorer looked far and wide for it. It took 200 years to find the gold.
Rookies. I can find gold online in seconds.
And gold has been a safe haven in times of turmoil. And gold has even kept its value through inflation.
Bro, I've been there, but gold saved my portfolio. A tip for you. Visit invest.gold.
Visit invest.gold to see why gold is everyone's asset.
With inflation these days, it's nice to know my pizza rate won't change.
We didn't even need a medical exam.
People across Canada are locking in to fixed rate pizza by Pizza Pizza.
Fixed rate pizza helps me focus on my future.
We could finally afford our dream pizza.
The website walked me through every step. There were no steps.
Get an extra large 4-topping pizza for a fixed price of $16.99. Lock in today at Pizza Pizza.
The new $50 Mega Instant Ticket has huge top prizes of $5 million.
That's huge!
A game so big, it's giant.
The 2023 NHL Draft continues tomorrow on Sportsnet.
The first round draft picks, picture perfect, and they're smiling for the camera in their new uniforms, realizing a goal that they had set out, many of them as young kids. And there you have 32 new NHLers. Great to have you back inside Bridgestone Arena. Gentlemen, it's funny because there were so many storylines we were looking at the start of this draft. Here we are, just one round down. Of course, 6 more rounds going tomorrow night. But let's start with you, Sam. The biggest storyline that played out with those 32 picks tonight.
Arizona Coyotes, they kept pick 6 and 12. They went with 2 Russian players. This is obviously a long-term play. 2 players who I think are very talented, but 2 players that I also thought that they could acquire later in the draft and maybe acquire some other assets. In the meantime, I think it shocked everybody when they went with Simashev at number 6.
Now, that was a big surprise. A lot of raised eyebrows, certainly from you guys. Chuck, what was the biggest storyline that caught your attention?
Well, I can go with a little low-hanging fruit. Just go with Connor Bedard going to Chicago. I mean, this is a premium top 6 franchise, original 6 franchise getting an elite, potential superstar hockey player. They also drafted Oliver Moore. Just a tremendous day for the Chicago Blackhawks.
And as you pointed out, no trades. I mean, we're done pretty early here. We thought it was going to be here until midnight. We're done pretty early. We were expecting to see a lot more Gary Bettman on the podium.
I know. I'm not sure if that's teams didn't want to trade back. They felt so comfortable and confident with who was there, or our teams didn't feel the need to move up because there's good players everywhere. But, it's pretty rare. Obviously, we talked about it a lot, but that certainly was a storyline.
And, Jason, what about you? Biggest storyline?
It's a happy day to be a St. Louis Blues fan, in my opinion. I mean, they just drafted 3 elite players: Dalibor Dvorsky, Otto Stenberg, Theo Lindstein. I mean, this is a coup. I can't discount it, guys. This is why general managers make decisions to trade out a season sometimes, acquire draft capital, but it's what you do with it at the end of the day. I know there's a couple of years out still before this starts to, become reality, these guys at the NHL level, but what a flying start. I love what St. Louis did today.
Yeah, so again, 8 teams with multiple picks. St. Louis Blues with 3 of those picks, and we have the first round down. The next 6 rounds, of course, coming your way tomorrow starting at 11 o'clock Eastern. Right here on Sportsnet as well. But the big storyline, and Chuck hit on it, Connor Bedard, it was the coronation of the great Connor Bedard. Started out with a little bit of trepidation on his face, wasn't, 100% sure, wanted to make sure, and then the smile once it was official. First overall pick, Connor Bedard, welcome to the NHL.
But I don't think done us this way.
We are taking this rivalry outdoors.
For the first time ever, the Battle of Alberta goes outdoors.
That headliner.
That's huge! A game so big, it's giant.
When you choose Best Way Stone, you're laying a foundation that stands up to time, the elements, and to your lifestyle. Best Way Stone. It's the better way to enjoy the outdoors.
Okay, and root beer to drink?
No. What?
You didn't get root beer?
I'm getting frozen root beer.
Oh. Try our frozen A&W root beer.
Friendly reminder, Canada Day, NHL offseason kicks off July 1st. Sportsnet Hockey Insiders are going to break down all the latest on Hockey Central signing season Saturday, 11:30 Eastern, 8:30 Pacific on Sportsnet and Sportsnet Now. Well, the night began with the generational talent Connor Bedard, selected first overall, and for 32 players and their families tonight, a dream realized, drafted into the NHL. Time to celebrate and exhale. For another 192 prospects, the journey continues tomorrow, rounds 2 through 7, which you can catch on Sportsnet. For all of us here, thanks for watching the 2023 NHL entry draft from Nashville. Good night, and we send it to Ken and Danielle. Sportsnet Central is next.